Hey, Patriots fans, if you want to see Toyota's best offers, including those not seen on TV, go to buyatoyota.com. It's Toyota's official website for deals from the official vehicle of the New England Patriots. Toyota, let's go places.
Some of the content of Patriots Unfiltered may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
The world's original podcast.
Welcome to Patriots Unfiltered.
Tyreek Hill calling our offense simple, but
No.
Saucy.
You're missing.
Wow.
Tyreek Hill actually was
complimented.
incredibly
Yeah.
complimentary of Christian Gonzalez.
He was.
Yeah.
No, I know he was. He was. And that
Well,
was
I'm not
like-
sure you know because you just said that he called the offense.
Who?
How did pizza delivery drivers find my house?
What is that book called? There's a book filled with maps. I'm forgetting. It's not the
Called
Thomas
an
guy.
atlas.
Atlas before the stadium went to turf and it was just a mud bowl.
I remember
Horrible.
Pop Warner. We lost a kid in a puddle.
Just
He just
He
They
died?
never found him again.
What?
Tamara's looking like, huh?
I'm still stuck at
Dumperford.
The metal
New
lounge.
Jersey Jets.
Yeah.
I'm still stuck at that.
Why are you stuck at that?
so I was like, well, what are you? And then they're like, oh, I'm a tourist. I'm like, interesting. And I'm like, that's Tamara. Tamara's always, what are you? Yeah. Oh, Gemini. Interesting.
Yeah. I am going to go with the Buccaneers to cover. Eagles win, but the Buccaneers don't lose by the points that were set.
That's gambling parlance.
Yeah.
So is covering.
That's covering.
This is Patriots Unfiltered.
Presented by Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com.
All right, welcome to Patriots Unfiltered. It is Tuesday here at Gillette Stadium.
It's a victory Tuesday.
Victory
Freddie.
Tuesday against the New Jersey Jets, and I don't understand why everyone's freaking out. Everyone's like,
Taylor Swift?
this loss didn't help me, you know. I'm not feeling any better after this loss.
Are you?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because
got
I
that
wasn't
one.
sure they were gonna win.
Oh, I wasn't either.
You know, so I'm happy that you go in against a division team on the road and come out with the win. And now we move on from there. Okay, so now we can worry about the Cowboys, but like there was no certainty that you were going to go into the Jets and with that defense and win, and they did. And you know, ask the Bills about playing the Jets. You know, when you're heavily favored, and we weren't heavily favored, but you know, anything can happen in these division games. When you can come out with a win, take it and move on. And, you know, don't worry about the style points. Now, does the offense still have problems? Hell yes. Hell yes. But they had them before we went to the Jets, and we were playing one of the best defenses in the league. So I'm happy. Let's go. Let's go play Dallas
Places.
now.
Oh, sorry. That's a different
Yeah,
thing.
let's go places. So
I agree with you,
I
Fred.
don't
I'm probably not quite as enthusiastic as you are, but they had to win the game. Bottom line, they had to win.
And they
did.
They made it a lot tougher than it should have been.
I don't
mean,
think they did. I think it was just a close game.
Well,
it
I
was a
think-
tight, close game that could have gone either way, and the Patriots won.
Yeah.
And they won on the back of their defense.
Yep.
Yeah.
As we thought they would.
Correct.
Right.
It was definitely tighter than it should have been.
I mean, that Hail Mary was close.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. That I agree with.
Yeah.
That I agree with.
Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't have come down to that, but it did, and
Correct.
you
Yeah.
won.
Yeah, that's.
you know?
I mean, that's. I'm not going to start with the gripes, but that was my only real gripe. Just close it out. You know, have that opportunity. Would have loved to see them. I mean, I wasn't expecting them to put 500 yards
I mean,
of offense up, but
the way
close the game out.
the way the game was going, a better Patriots team would have closed it out in the first half. You know, the way it was going, but they're having issues right now on offense, and we're going to get into that. We're
Yeah.
going to get into that, but. Listen, I think I'm pleased as punch about the defense, even though it was Zach Wilson. They did a great job against the run. You know, Gonzalez, if you just focus on him, how can you not
Yeah.
feel good about the season he's having so far?
Absolutely.
I mean,
Excellent.
Yep.
yeah.
He's fun to watch, and that's what they need around here. You know, is those talented guys. So it's been an incredibly tough start to the players that he's had to go up against. I mean, it's like you can't imagine
trial by fire.
a tougher gauntlet than what he's faced in those first 3 games, and now he's probably going to get some CeeDee Lamb too. So
Yep.
it's just, I mean, that's the NFL though every week, and that's why you need a guy like Christian Gonzalez who's athletic enough to, run with these guys. He doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to, pitch zeros every time he goes up against one of these guys, but you just see how competitive he is on every catch, and he really makes you work for it. So it's really positive. He's been, there have been less hiccups than I kind of thought. I expected there'd be like,
would agree.
he's going to get toasted a couple times and, miscalculate, bite on a double move, something like that. But
He's been really, really good.
But he's been good.
And I have a bone to pick with Paul.
Oh,
I don't know what I did.
What?
Because,
But I'm in full agreement with everything you've said. I don't know how you could possibly
every
be
week,
mad at me.
Every week he's like, Teflon Mac. All I've been hearing is people saying, I can't stand Mac. He's cheap. He's a baby. He's this, he's that.
See, now we're talking about two different
That's a
yeah.
totally different. That's
Thank you, Tamara Brown.
that's after the whistle stuff that everyone's
Okay.
referring to.
Everyone.
People don't like him personally.
Well, then I don't understand how he's Teflon Mac if people don't
But
like him.
that's a whole different thing. We're not
Yeah.
talking about his ability.
I know.
I
but-
think the ability thing is still pretty split.
Yeah.
I think it's the off the field after the whistle cheap.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of
Moments that
Patriots
But
fans.
I want to. He did what he did. I know there's the whole Zapruder film, and people are like, "Oh, I didn't
Not
see
really
it."
a Zapruder film.
He
It's right
did
there
it
for you.
I mean, after he got slammed to the ground, and he put his hand out, and Sauce, knocked his hand away, and then he got up. He did do the vanilla nut tap.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. But what I don't
Wow, what a
but they
quote.
should continue the video, because after he did that, Sauce pushes him.
Yeah, they show it.
and he kind of like, I think he was laughing.
I totally agree.
Mac was
yeah,
laughing?
Yeah.
Mac was laughing.
Like Snively. Hey,
yeah, like he
I
was,
totally agree with you, Fred.
I think this whole thing's being blown out of proportion.
I think if it
well,
wasn't,
I don't agree anymore.
Why?
If it wasn't his first offense, Paul, I think
Right,
we know.
yeah.
I mean, wow.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you, but saying Paul.
Don't ever.
Let me do that again. Sorry, Paul.
Thanks.
I think if it was his first offense, Fred, then I think everyone wouldn't be up in arms. But since it's not his first offense and he's
Yeah.
borderline going down the road of being a NFL Grayson Allen, that's why everyone is.
Yeah,
up
Yeah,
in arms.
he shouldn't get fined or anything or suspended.
No.
But I mean, can we just be grown-ups and say that he did it?
I absolutely did.
It seems like most of my colleagues refuse to A, admit that he did it, or B, but what about the pushing? It's not that big a deal. I agree with you. It's maybe much ado about nothing, but you see it on video.
He did do, but I think he was kind of kidding around with him because he was.
It's like I don't know how you can say
jewels.
Yeah, I mean, he just with the back of his hand and then he was laughing about it.
Let me put it this way: if you did that in this office right now, joking around or not, HR would have a problem.
Only if Paul went to them.
That's a very different
In
scenario.
fairness, if you tackle,
I wouldn't go
somebody,
to HR. I'll just say that. If someone did that to me, I wouldn't be going to HR.
When we want to start
Someone would probably
talking-
then go to HR on me.
Go time.
When we want to start talking about football again, I'll talk.
Okay,
And
so we're not
until-
ready to do that yet. So you just hold on.
I'll just leave the studio.
I just don't really
Wait,
understand how you
we're-
can say it's absolutely, nothing.
It's a nothing.
We also
It's
have
like
one more
the
thing.
fourth or fifth thing in 3 years.
Yeah,
It's nothing.
we also
It's
have
not
one more
nothing.
thing to talk about before we can talk about football. So Evan, I hope you can bear with us. But you already know what this is about.
No, this is this whole thing with Mac is just I'm out.
I don't
this
think
is
it's
not
what we
about
want
Mac.
to talk
I don't
about.
think she
This is
wants
not
to talk
about-
about. I
this
think
is
I know
not
what
about
she wants
Mac.
to talk about.
This is not about Mac.
Okay.
This is about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
And
I don't
know-
want to talk about that.
I don't know
either.
how anyone hasn't come up with their little couple name yet. I don't know how you can go
tough.
combine their two names.
Fake.
It's tough.
Trailer.
Oh my gosh.
Trailer.
No,
Trailer.
I heard it was T squared.
T square.
Yeah,
I like that.
yeah.
I'm just a little bit intrigued by Bill Belichick's response. This is his second response on Taylor Swift. He's obviously a Swiftie. I mean, first he gives her, props for having grit and having mental toughness, performing in the rain here at Gillette, and then he says this is the biggest catch of Travis Kelce's career. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Cool.
No, listen.
This was a day that we should have
stole,
Alex here on
She
the show.
stole the day.
She did.
On a day where Miami scores 70 points, she's the headline. Yeah.
I've never seen someone on a final score graphic that didn't play in the game.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
There you go. We need one of our players to go out with somebody famous.
It's never happened before.
Well,
The closest is Devon Godchaux.
That was a very subtle
No,
line right
he's
there. I
talking
like
about
that. I
Giselle.
like that.
Oh.
Jules had some models, right? Jules was dating models.
Yeah,
Danny
he was.
Amendola too.
Yeah,
Danny
I think that
Amendola.
those women were famous more. I mean, I'm probably wrong, but I didn't really know of those women until they started dating, like Gronk and Amendola
Oh,
and
yeah.
Edelman. But
Well, good for
I
Gronk.
would say
Giselle obviously
Godchaux's
transcends
fiancé.
all of that.
Yeah, well, she's independently famous, right?
Yeah.
She's
Who?
She's Godchaux's
Godchaux's.
fiance. She
Yeah,
has
is
Fiancé.
she?
a ton of followers.
I don't know.
She's like,
I'm
Is
gonna
she
try-
like,
I'll
is she
try
like
to
internet
Yeah,
famous?
we're
Like
not
a
talking
model.
about Taylor
She's a
Swift.
model.
She's like internet famous, right?
Internet model, like an Instagram
Like
model.
Giselle
or like a
is
real
like-
Real model.
Real model.
Runway
Giselle
model.
Bundchen is like worldwide.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
95% of the people would know who that is.
Yeah. All right.
What's
Now we
what's
can-
Devon
So that's the
Godchaux's
social minute.
fiance's name?
Chanel.
Like I've never heard of her.
Chanel. She's a model just like Giselle.
She's just got one name.
No, not just like what she's.
She got one of
She
those.
is.
I think I just start
All
going by
right.
Deuce.
So let's go around the
She
table.
wears clothes. That's the last similarity. Like
Let's
she
go around
models
the
clothes.
table. Was this a good win, a bad win, or just a win?
That's a win. It's a win, and a win is a win, and you need it. And I'm with you. We can get nitpicky, but it's a long season, and there's going to be plenty of time to dive into that stuff once they start playing good teams. Like Dallas, pretty good still. I mean, I think every game from here on out is good, but there's something about the Jets that like you just win that game. I'm not going to get too caught up and concerned with it. I mean, there's certainly things we'll talk about and dissect, but a win over the Jets, you need it.
Tamara, good win, bad win, or neutral?
Sorry, I have Alex Francisco, who is currently not here, but she is here to say, and I'm speaking for her, Chanel is not an internet model. She is a real model. She was a Victoria's Secret angel. So those are
So
Alex's
she's
2
internet
cents.
famous. I didn't say she's an internet model. I said she's internet famous.
So those are Alex's 2
And
cents. 'Cause we don't have another
Victoria's
mic.
Secret proves my point. It's not like
Well, that's a catalog.
Yeah, catalog. You get the catalog.
exactly. It's not like
catalogs
Jet
even
said it.
exist
It's not
anymore?
Giselle level. Can we stop?
What?
She's not a Giselle supermodel.
No,
Okay.
Few are.
This was just a win.
Correct.
just a win.
A win. Nothing crazy. They got it done.
Good win, bad win, neutral.
Oh, we're going to talk about football now? I wasn't
Yeah.
sure if we were done
Oh,
with all
stop
the
it
other,
with your
the other
holier
stuff.
than thou.
When did Brian Morey come back to the show?
Yeah.
I'm
Sorry.
just saying, if we were talking about,
I didn't know. I thought we were going to do 2 hours on
No.
whether or not Mac sack tapped Sauce
Evan
Gardner
will
or
be
not.
in on this.
No, because
if this-
evidently he
Football
didn't,
time,
according to
fellas.
all the
Let's get in.
Patriots defenders.
I will say, Evan would be all about this conversation if it was Josh Allen dating Taylor Swift.
No.
He loves Josh Allen.
I do. When it comes to Taylor Swift, it has nothing to do with the Patriots, so I honestly could care less, and I could also care less about the Mac thing. But good win or bad win, I say win. I mean, I guess I don't know. Mostly bad.
Okay.
But I think the big thing for me is what Mike said. Like 1:19 left with 2 timeouts for the Jets, and you give the ball back. Like I don't care if it's 45-40 or it's 15-10. Like you can't give the ball back to the Jets. You just can't. And if they had knelt it out there, if they had picked up a first down, I would have said good win. But
Oh, just for that reason.
just for
closing it
literally
out.
just for
Or
that reason.
The inability to close it
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
Well, I am not saying bad. I'm saying just a win. But I agree with Evan's point. If they were able to run the clock out in the fourth quarter, then I would have called it a good win.
Yeah.
But I think there's still an element of all of us that thinks of this team from the last 20 plus years, and I look at it as a win because I think the Jets are just as good as them. The only difference in the game Sunday was they had a guy who was not capable of quarterbacking a high school team.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just he was unable to do the simplest things that a quarterback needs to do, and that's why you won. Your defense dominated him.
Yeah.
They completely tortured him. He
Yeah.
was like
Except for that one drive.
he's completely broke, and even that one drive was like run.
Yeah.
Like he didn't do anything. He made like
Made
one
one
throw.
Yeah, they
play.
had the
He made
one
one
big play
play
on
on
third
third
down.
He made one
Yeah.
throw.
Yeah, and it should have been 3 because that was not PI in the end zone. That put him at the 1.
But whatever. Like he had one good drive in a game.
Yeah.
You know, like that. That's as bad a performance as that was like Tyler Palko bad.
When you start to talk about just this is what irks me about the end of the game for the offense the most is I don't, like I said, I don't care if it's 15-10 or it's 45-10 or 45-40, right? Whatever 5-point game you want to put it at. The bottom line is that the defense carried them for 58 minutes of that game, and they were a couple of inches, a Randall Cobb
Yeah, that was close.
hand
Yeah.
That was
away
close.
from losing the game on a Hail Mary because your offense couldn't pick up 1 first down. That's all. And they didn't even come close. It was 4th and 3.
Yeah.
It wasn't even like, a decision of, it's inches, like, should we go for it? No, it wasn't even close. And so they had to punt from the 39-yard line, which netted like 17 yards of field position or something like that. And they were this close to, and if I'm the defense, I'm starting to be like, you guys can't even ice it for us. Like we literally did everything else for you. We even scored.
Right. And in the second half, I think the Jets blanked the offense, right?
Well, they got a punt. They got a field goal the first
Field
possession.
goal on the first
okay.
drive.
It was 6 punts, I believe, to end the game.
Yeah.
And I think they had like maybe 3 total first downs in the fourth quarter total. I mean, none in the last 2 drives. They weren't able to get any, and that's what sticks out, and that's the stuff that they have to be better at. They got a good start. They went down the field both the first and second half. They got field goal drives. All right, we'll take baby steps, but that inability down the stretch, and it's why should we have that hope yet that Matt can lead a comeback if they can't even close a game?
And the Pharaoh Brown touchdown was great to see, but the fact that he's the only guy to get the touchdown in the game, it tells you what's going on with this offense right there. That
they were.
Yeah.
I mean, no
They
red
have-
zone. I mean, were they in the red zone at all?
No.
No, they never
They
made
got
it
to the
red
20.
zone. They got
but
to the
technically
20.
no.
But it's also just. I mean, we talked about the video we were doing, and just how spread around it is. Like he goes to Juju on both of those last third downs on those final 2 possessions. That it just like. And I know Mike Giardi, I believe, asked Bill O'Brien about it. Not on the same page. Like, are we forcing it to him?
It just
Why?
doesn't look right whenever he's involved. And we've had guys in the past like that. It just doesn't look right. And I don't know if it's him, if it's Mac, if it's a combination of both, if it's just a lack of speed on Juju's part, but it just doesn't look
Juju,
right.
you think maybe he's wearing 7 and they think it's 17?
Probably.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
They're like, we can't throw to that guy.
Yeah, it just doesn't look right.
So this is probably more of like an Evan question, I guess. But for me, it's like, why on the first down plays, both I feel like the first and second down plays are always runs and they're always terrible. And then it's like 3rd and 9 and they can't get it. It's like I feel like the first play specifically always a run and it always goes nowhere.
Well, I mean, you have to. I think this team has to run the ball, and I think they know that. Like their passing game isn't good enough to do what they did in the first 2 weeks and be so pass heavy. So they tried to establish the run in this game, and I did think they ran the ball pretty well.
How many plays under center?
27.
So a big jump on that.
Big increase. He threw 5 play action passes from under center. He only threw 1 in the first 2 weeks of the season. So they made an emphasis. They ran that 13 package. They had Pharaoh Brown at fullback. Like they made some tweaks to the running game from this week compared to last week to move the ball on the ground for sure.
I have a question on that, and you guys, I know because you watch the stuff. The 3 tight end that you just talked about.
Yeah.
How many? Like was like 8?
16.
So they had 16 plays like that.
Yeah.
Now, how many had they run before the touchdown?
They ran 7.
week.
Okay.
7, and they ran all 7 times.
Right. So
Yeah.
what I'm wondering
6
is
or 7.
that clearly was a setup.
Yep.
And is it a change? Like, in other words, are they like,
No,
can we expect to see?
You used it once.
Yeah. And my guess is that was, they set up something. They used some 3 tight end a little bit against Miami.
Yep.
And now they obviously brought it out much more in this game to set, what happened up. And it worked. It won you a game.
Yeah.
Because you could make an argument without that play, you don't win.
Yeah.
They were inside the 30 once all day. I mean, even the Jets got inside the 30.
I mean, the Jets, like when you look at like the explosive plays, like the Jets have more big plays than the Patriots did. Like the Patriots had that one big play to Pharaoh, and then guess what? 18 yards again. That was their top play. I mean, that seems like their ceiling for conventional offense. That's as big of a play as they
now
can
there
get
were
18
times
yards.
I thought that in spurts, and Mike did a really good job in the postgame show, sort of highlighting some of the third down throws that Mac made in the first half. I thought
They were 6 of 10 on third down in the first half.
And then they just went completely in the toilet. This was basically the opposite of the first 2 games.
Yeah.
Where they started really slow in the first 2 games and then sort of picked it up when it was, when they were down 2 scores. This game they got off to a better start offensively. It just didn't translate
Do you think
to
the
as many
Patriots,
points.
up until the end, they kind of had a 2-score game? It was 10 points. Do you think they got really conservative in the second half?
I wish I could say that, but
Yeah.
no. I think that matter of fact, I thought they threw the ball in some situations where I wouldn't have.
Yeah.
And one of them was one of the best throws that Mac made. On 3rd and 15 from like inside their 10 or 15,
to Parker,
he
yeah.
had the rub route to Parker on the out, and he put it right on him. I mean, perfect throw.
Yeah.
I would have run there and punted because I'm telling you, you could be still playing right now. The Jets wouldn't score.
Yeah.
The only way the Jets were going to score is if that deflection goes off a shoulder and
Right,
and
but
not catch it.
I think that's the part. that frustrates me. Like that fluky stuff does happen. Like we've
Oh, I
seen
know.
it.
Oh, yeah.
And the Miami Miracle happened
Yeah.
against the Patriots. So like, trust me, I've lived it. We've all lived it. And whether it's like a lateral play or it's Garrett Wilson sneaks behind the defense one time and it's just one throw from Zach Wilson that gets you
But he
beat.
would have checked it down to Ty Conklin.
Yeah.
You know,
But
for
I think,
a fourth and one.
There's a lot of stats going around about the deep passing with Mac Jones, which I definitely think is an issue. But to me, the root cause of it is man coverage. Like they are once again terrible against man coverage. And when you play these teams like the Jets that have Sauce and DJ Reed and they can man up against you, you know, some teams are afraid to do that with their corners. They don't have the talent on the outside, regardless of who they're playing, to play a ton of man. But the Jets played a ton of man on third down and basically just dared the Patriots to beat them down the field one-on-one. So when people are saying, well, why are they throwing it to Juju on those third downs? And people are, you know, asked me in, you know, several different areas. It's, well, the reason is because that's where the defense wants them to throw the ball. Like the ball is being funneled to Juju in those spots and those one-on-ones, and Mac is taking the one-on-one and he's trying to see if his guy can make a play. Do I love that it's 20 yards down the field? No, but the bottom line is that's what's open. Like that was what was available to them. So they can't beat man coverage. He's 27th in the league in completion rate. He's dead last in EPA against man coverage. They have, besides Pop Douglas, they really don't have any man separators, and he's a rookie that's still learning, you know, and still has to button up some of the details
You
and
can
things
see
like
some
that.
of those things as to why maybe, you know, and again, these are anecdotal. Like you don't know what the play call was, but it does look like there are times that he's involved in plays where I'm not sure that looked right. You know, like that one that he got behind, I'm not sure he was supposed to be behind. I don't know exactly what happened there, but I don't think that was a terrible throw by Mac.
Yeah, I asked Ross Douglas about it today because he's probably usually pretty candid about, you know, what if the routes were correct, and he just said that they, you know, need to get the guys on the same page.
Okay.
And so maybe
he was right and Mac was wrong.
I mean, when I watched that play back, the right tackle gets beat, right? Vidarian Lowe gets beat by a spin move by Jermaine Johnson, and Douglas is behind the defense. He's 3 or 4 yards behind the defense.
I thought that had a chance. Yeah.
And I think it's a touchdown if the protection is clean, but Mac just
So maybe it was just a bad throw.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's the bottom line, is they can't beat man coverage again for like
I
the
even
fourth
thought
straight year.
like they had a really nice third down conversion. The one I think it was, did Douglas just catch one ball in this game?
Yeah.
There was a really nice third down conversion. It was the play before the long touchdown,
Yeah, 3rd and 5.
right? And that was like maybe a 15-yard out to Douglas. A nice, nice little sort of
Pillowy throw.
yeah, nice
Soft
touch on the throw.
Yep.
And then Douglas caught it and kind of like flipped
Fell down
over, fell
backwards,
down, and
yeah.
did a flip back. Like it just didn't look like it just doesn't look right yet. So I wonder if he's thinking a lot about what he's doing and trying, you know, and that's why it's been a little bit slower than maybe we're all hoping for.
I would like them to the throw that he fumbled on against Miami, like that, those types of routes. I'd like to see
no thinking.
him running more of those types of routes underneath the defense, because the vertical plays take a lot of chemistry, timing, understanding of coverage. Whereas if you just ask him to get open on a whip route or a slant or something like
He's
that,
not reading anything.
Yeah, just get open, right? Like that's the bottom line, and then he can catch and run with it, and he is an explosive ball carrier, and you see it sometimes on the punt returns and things like that. But they need somebody. Yeah, everybody again. Like, why are they throwing deep to Juju on 3rd and 3? They need somebody that's going to get 4 yards there. Like it's
And
not
like
they
Michael
don't have
Carter is covering him.
Yeah.
Like you're not throwing it at Sauce. You're not throwing it
Right.
at Reed. Like you're looking for the matchup that you like.
And they just don't have anybody right now that can get open quickly off the line of scrimmage and create those. You know, there's no back, there's no slot receiver.
This is when I
so-
really miss Jakobi. It's like I hate crying over spilled milk, but like,
Well, he's proving every week almost that he's the better, at this point in his career, better player than Juju. But
Yep.
you know, when you talk about one-on-one, if the quarterback has confidence, right, and can anticipate the route, and he's got a clear passing lane, he should be able to beat one-on-one. Like, you know, just call a dig route, call, you know, something where it's all about timing. Mac, I don't care who it is, you should at times be able to beat one-on-one. But I don't think he's got the confidence with his receivers.
I mean, I saw a few throws that he was really, almost scarily. So
Yeah, he had some
forcing
tight
it in
windows.
there real tight.
Oh, he had some good throws.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that.
Some got deflected and some made it. Like there was one to Bourne that I don't know how he got it in.
Oh,
there.
yeah. It was like
Great throw.
102.
a hair.
But if you can anticipate, guys, the guy's going to do a dig route, and the ball's in the air, as he's making his dig. So when he turns, there it is. It's almost impossible to cover that if you're a defender.
Yeah, and I think that's what the hope is
Gonzalez
that, and I
would.
think kind of what Evan was getting at when he wrote his film review was that maybe they can get to that point where we're all on the same page and Mac's throwing with anticipation and it offsets some of their lack of explosive separation ability. I find it interesting again to like just how many different guys he's throwing on, and it's on one hand it's like, well, it's good he's not locked in on somebody. I mean, I do think he gets a little locked in on Hunter Henry, and rightly so, but I want to see it come out like who are the best guys, who are the guys that he trusts, who are the personnel when we got to have it that we're rolling with, and I think that was like part of the problem I had with the end of the game where it was 3rd and 1, the third downs, the 2 to Juju. It's like you're going to everybody, and it's like those are the plays, got to have it. Those are when you go to your why are we going to Juju? Like why now?
I like
why not
Evan's
go to Hunter?
explanation on
Yeah,
that.
no, I do too. But it's
Because
like
we were both lockstep.
Yeah.
Like Juju in those spots, the gotta have it spots is Juju. But
so
I
credit
think
to
Evan's,
the Jets, I guess.
They were
I think
playing a
Evan's
ton of,
description of that
yeah.
it makes sense.
They were playing a ton of one robber, so they're had the robber coverage, and they're just packing the middle of the field.
Yeah.
And they the in cuts and stuff like that to Hunter Henry are just not going to be there, and it's just funneling the ball outside the numbers, and that's just been the story about this team for 4 years now. Is like that's how you play the Patriots on 3rd down. Is you play press man and you just force the ball outside the numbers, and they're not going to beat you out there, whether that's rooted in receiver play, quarterback play, line play, like whatever. It's probably all of the above. But I did try to be a little bit positive. I did in after further review where I said you can look at it two ways. You can either say, like Fred's point, there are open guys, maybe not wide open, but there are opportunities to make plays down the field. So either he's going to start hitting on a couple of those a game as the timing and the rhythm of the offense improves, or you can be pessimistic, which is probably more where I'm at, and say they're just not good enough. They're not good enough to hit those plays. And we have 14 weeks to find out, right?
They're going to hit some of them, and they're not going to go the whole year without hitting any of these big plays down.
No,
the field.
and that's what the thing with Mac. It's he throw to Parker on the sideline. Those are the throws that you would think all right, well that's what they're trying to force him to do, and that's what he's doing, but it's just not consistent enough, and they can't.
And that was also against off coverage, right? When they play against zone or they play against off man, they can make those types of throws. The problem is can the receiver get off the line of scrimmage, make a move to get open at the top of the route against bump and run press man? They don't have anybody that does that consistently, and it just puts them in a real tough spot where they are throwing back shoulders or contested fades, and that's what is available to them right now because the guys aren't getting open.
I have a minor nit to pick, Freddie.
Yeah.
Not really related to all of this stuff, but so the last drive, you need a first down to end the game. I think you got a couple of yards on first down from Zeke. And they run a little end around to Demario Douglas.
That was the second to last drive, but yeah.
Oh, I thought it was the last drive.
No.
Okay, so the second to last drive, where they're doing a little fake action, they're flipping it back. So this is the guy who was so bad with his ball security a week earlier. Now the only way we can lose this game, and I'm telling you honestly, the only way you can lose this game is if we turn it over, and that's when we're going to try to do this.
I actually like the call.
I would like it if you weren't so afraid of the guy being able to hold on to the ball.
No, that's a fair point.
I like the idea of Douglas being involved, but you have told me for a week that guy wasn't worthy of being able to be relied upon, and
it's a new week.
And you doubled down on it earlier in the game because he double clutched a fair catch, and you had to take him away from punt returns, right? And now the game is on the line with a wet ball, and we're going to flip it back to the guy who you don't think can hold on to the ball. I thought that was weird. Under normal circumstances, I don't mind trying to run unconventionally and see if you can catch him. You get the end, he's fast, cheap first down, ends the game. I have no problem with the call. Yeah. I just thought it was strange given the events of the week.
On defense, with the run game, Who stood out in your mind?
I mean, I think the early 3-4 package they opened with, where they put Jennings and Roberts and Keon White, it was just, it was
Jennings.
Yeah, Jennings. I mean, he had 2 plays, but that's like what he looked like in the preseason. He's got some little shake to him now that he's able to defeat
kind
blocks
of a
and
tone
get into
setter.
He plays with some energy for sure.
Yeah,
Like the first play of the game, he's like in the backfield dropping guys. Like I know, like Mike said, it wasn't like he played 78 snaps. But like I just thought right off the go, he set the tone. You're not running today.
4 or 5 tackles. I mean, I thought Keon White, after watching him again, it's like there's just little glimpses where, Jesus, he's like a
best game
handful.
for Peppers in a while.
Peppers made one particular play
that
was special on that.
Where he shed the block and made the play in the open
screen.
field.
I think it was
like kind of
Carter.
alligator, like gave him like the alligator roll.
It ended up being like a 5-yard gain instead of what probably would have been a 10-yard gain in a first down. And with the Jets, that makes all the difference in the world because they can't convert.
Yeah. Good punt return too. I mean, he's a talented guy.
Yeah, I think he had a pretty good game.
He did play well. Peppers played well.
Quale out.
Yeah, it sounds like
we
he's
probably
out.
should get to that. It sounds like he's going to be out for the season with a torn biceps.
And I think I saw Bedard say it sounds like Godshaw, maybe not this week, but not a long-term thing was what he was insinuating. So
okay,
not as bad as it looked.
Yeah, I mean they just don't have any depth. I mean I don't. It's not like these are star players, but they're rotational players that play big roles in significant snaps for them. And I know Paul suggested we'll just throw Lawrence Guy in there. I mean, it's trickle down effect. And
if you're missing Godshaw, then you probably make a call to somebody.
Go get
Carl Davis.
Go pull Carl Davis out the Seahawks. But I mean, I will say, I don't want to. No offense to Daniel Quale, but I mean, it's a little bit like, all right, well, that might be Keon now that gets kind of
like
those
I think
rush
Quale
roles.
is a good interior sub rusher, and I think he does a good job at that. I think it's a loss, but that's not Carl Davis. Carl Davis is Godshaw if he can't play.
Right.
And who knows? Maybe he's in Seattle now. Maybe he doesn't want to come back.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I remember
maybe they don't want him anymore.
Well, I remember his post when he got let go, and he put it all on himself. He's like, listen, I didn't bring it. I didn't play well, and I didn't have the intensity that I needed during training camp, and blah 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 blah.
I don't have any names off the top of my head, but a guy like a Quale, I feel like they're out there because they're not overly big size guys. They're get off defensive tackle more in that old 4-3 kind of inside guys.
But
so they could probably find somebody.
I think you're right though. Keon White is probably going to be poised for more snaps because he hasn't played a lot.
Yeah, and along those lines too, I think Barmore was good in this game. I know I was hard on him last week, but he was really good. So that was good to see. But you wonder what his role is going to be without Godshaw in there now. Is he going to, are they going to have to rely on him more, maybe put him more in run defense, which I still don't think is his forte. But
how worried are we about the kicking operation?
Joe Cardone will get it right. I think he'll be okay.
We might get a 10-minute answer from Bill on long snapper and the elements.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I thought, we're going on. How many years has Saleh been there? Like 2 or 3 at this point with the
I think it's
Jets.
his third year.
They have never put together a good offensive game plan against the Patriots. Never. And I find it hilarious. Like
That's what.
I feel-
But
cool.
that's what scares me about defensive-minded coaches.
You want to keep running the ball at the Patriots defense that are playing 3-4 that have Jawan Bentley and Jelani Tavai and all these big backers on the field, and you want to run it right up the middle. Like, go ahead.
Yeah.
Like, keep doing it, Jets.
Do you
like,
think that was like their way of trying to play conservative so that there were no turnovers in the game as they finished the game with?
Of course, they wanted to run the ball, but they needed to be able to run the ball in this game to have a chance. And the Dolphins ran the ball beautifully against the Patriots. If you're playing the Patriots, you run sideline to sideline. You try to get those big guys moving sideline to sideline, and you hit the runs on the perimeter. Like running like up the gut against New England is just asking for trouble. Like I'm
wondering if it had to do with their last minute hit to the offensive line though.
Even more reason to pitch it outside. Yeah. Like if you're playing the Patriots and you are smashing your head against a brick wall if you're trying to run it up the middle. Like that's exactly where their strength of their defense is. Like you have guys like Godshaw, Lawrence Guy, Dietrich Wise, Bentley, Tavai, Jennings. Like all these guys are out on the field exactly to stop the run, and they're just
the first play they were all out there.
Yeah,
it was unbelievable.
Yeah, and they're just running it right into
Yeah.
the teeth of the defense, and like I said in after further review, like on second thought, like keep doing it. Like, if that's what you think you're going to beat this team, then keep doing it.
It's like, where are the little checkdowns to the backs? Because I feel like those are always the Patriots like kryptonite.
Right.
Like
So
they
is
take
where
a deep, check it down, and that guy picks up 6. And they just like Bills do that all the time.
This is where I'm defensive of Saleh a little bit in this regard. And Evan's saying, run the ball all you want. You want to run it 40 times, run it. Just don't run it like that. Yeah. Don't run it between the guards. They weren't even running it between the tackles. They were running it like right up the gut. That guy can't play. He's broken. He can't. I watched some of the plays again. I've seen some of the the armchair quarterbacks posting stuff. I saw a play, like they come out after run. They get decent field position. They come out on first down and throw. The guy's wide open for a little easy little throw. Would have been like a 7-yard throw, and then who knows? Maybe you get yards after the catch. He takes a 12-yard sack on first down when there's not really even any pressure. Like, he created more pressure in that game by turning his eyes away from the receivers and just not seeing anything. He can't play.
He was fighting
It's
for his
malpractice what they're doing to that team.
Yeah.
And you think it's bad now? Wait till about 3 weeks from now.
I think, Paul, to your point, it's like every time they got off the field, it was a different person.
All trying
Yep.
to pick him up. Like,
Yep.
hey. And finally, at the end of the game, it was like, we suck. What are we doing? And like, the Michael Carter, the running back, not the cornerback, is arguing with like the tight ends coach and like that.
Yeah.
Like, and I get it. Like, Garrett Wilson was like clearly trying to say, hey, Evan, we can do this, buddy. Hey, just stay with it. We can do. You could see every single possession they were trying to coax this guy, Lazard and Cobb, like talking to him, and nothing changed.
Yeah,
Nothing. He refused to just see the completions that were right there for him.
Yeah, he can't see the field at all.
And I'm not telling you they would have had a big offensive day. They wouldn't have, because the Patriots defense was giving those throws underneath. Like, I'm not telling you the Jets would have had 30 points if Zach Wilson just took the checkdowns. But you're not going to be like going nowhere the whole game the way they were. You would have had some first downs and a little bit of back and forth.
I just have to think that I know that there's some reports out there that like Matt Ryan called them and said that he would be interested. Carson Wentz.
No, I think Ryan said he's not interested.
Oh no, I think the reports were that he was.
Oh,
I thought I saw that he wasn't.
I read that he has no interest in coming back to play for the Jets.
Okay. I don't know.
Maybe it's wrong. Like, there's been a couple of
Wentz was
shady
another one
reports.
mentioned that he
just
reached out.
these like veteran like Wentz is. I would not go the Wentz route because I think he's as broken as Zach Wilson is. But these veteran quarterbacks that might not be at the peak of their powers anymore in terms of the traits, the arm strength and stuff like that, they're at least going to make good decisions with the ball and get the ball out, right?
Case Keenum.
Yeah,
To me, Case Keenum makes too much sense.
Anything would be better.
So I heard one thrown out to me today that I thought was really good and really interesting, and I don't think it's completely dumb. Our buddy Mike Reese, blogger Mike, Minnesota, Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, a trade.
Give him a second-round pick for Kirk Cousins. Now, I don't think the Jets would do it because of the money. Like, how much money are you going to pay quarterbacks? And that's cash money, not cap money, before you start with your snark. Like,
why not?
Minnesota's 0-3. Cousins' deal is up at the end of the year. You're probably not going to re-sign him.
That's good.
Like, I never even gave it a thought. But if he were their quarterback, they would be a playoff contender. I'm not telling you a Super Bowl contender, but they would be a contender for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think.
Like it.
But now it's like kind of too late.
I think Minnesota would have to wait at least a couple more games before they would do that. And then by that time, you expect them to come in, learn your offense.
Yeah, well, you'd have to do it now.
It's just like
can't wait.
It's too much money for you're not going to get the results that you're hoping for. I don't think.
No.
Yeah, see, I would do it.
Does he have any experience with that
it's only
system
money.
at all?
Yeah, so Nerve Turner's system is pretty similar to what they run.
Yeah, I just think that if you did it right now, if you made that deal today, he can't play Sunday for you, but he could probably play next Sunday for you, and then you have a chance. I mean,
how can he not be better than
at
Zach
1-3? It ain't over.
I know, but are you expecting the Vikings to tell their fans 0-3? We're giving up.
I'm thinking the Vikings are going to want to save the money. That's how I'm thinking the Vikings. The Vikings aren't going anywhere.
They want to
They're
keep
0-3.
Justin Jefferson. And
I feel like
If it was a must-win for the Patriots to avoid 0-3, it's a must-win for them.
I'm just a little bit shocked that the Jets didn't do this sooner. It's like after this happened to Aaron Rodgers in that opener, it's like I would have been on the phone immediately because by now
Correct.
they could have had a guy ready to go.
Correct. You would have a guy that you could have acquired after that Monday night game who would be ready. If he wasn't ready to play Sunday, he'd definitely be ready to play this week. And you'd have him up to speed. Now, I listen.
Yeah.
It's not like you're going to acquire Tom Brady in his prime. Okay? But I do think you could get a guy like Case Keenum who would come in and know exactly what you want out of him. And he's not a world beater, but he's not going to go out there and do that.
Yeah, and with that team,
That was the worst quarterback performance I've seen since the last time the Patriots played him here when he had the previous worst quarterback performance I've ever seen.
and
Last
even
year
a-
was worse,
Even
I
a
think.
modicum of success on offense is going to make that defense even better than it
Exactly.
is.
Like,
Exactly.
as bad as he was in the first game last year when he threw all the picks with stupid decisions, at least he made a lot of plays in that game.
He did.
The last two times they played, he's made no plays. None.
Yeah, you're sitting there and like Garrett Wilson is this all-world receiver, and you just really feel for him because, he said after the game that he put in all this work in the off season, to get ready for the year, and he's ready to go, and he feels like he's, ready to dominate, but the rest of it's just not there for him, and it's like, so we have a quarterback that doesn't have a number
Paul's
one
got me on
receiver.
his fantasy team.
And
He's
they have a number one receiver that doesn't have a quarterback,
Yeah,
and it's
right.
like if we just like switch locker rooms real quick, like would anybody notice that Garrett Wilson
Trade
just
for Garrett
walked
Wilson.
over to the Patriots?
We'll give him Juju.
We'll make it fair. I read the transcript of that, and then it was, we said all this stuff like I don't know what to do. I'm just going to stay ready. And they're like, well, what about, how do you feel about Zach? And it was like, oh yeah, that's my dog. I'm like, oh boy, like they're all trying to just
based
like,
on what I
walk
saw on the
line
sideline.
with
See,
it.
last year I thought there were a lot of signs that they don't really even like this kid.
Yeah. Well, the
based on
headband-
what I
the
saw,
headband is
based
too
on what
much.
I saw on Sunday, reading between the lines, I would say that Zach Wilson probably did a lot in the offseason and in the summer to restore his relationship because they were
and they're seeing him
they
as a
were
backup
really
now.
treating him with
Yeah.
kid gloves.
Yeah.
They were really trying.
Yeah.
I thought, like they kept showing, like Fred. I don't know how much you saw, like at the broadcast. After every one of these series, they were showing the Jets silent because I think they were waiting.
Yeah.
When's the explosion coming? And like every time, it wasn't really yelling. It was like,
Come on.
"Well, come on, we can do it. You
can
come
do
on,
it, kid."
believe. We got this. We can still do this."
I just can't.
And
like,
they just weren't even close.
Solid just coming to the podium twice now since the game, Monday morning or Monday
Salma
afternoon.
sounds like a babbling buffoon.
And Sunday after the game, and just saying that he gives us the best chance to win. And like I get that until they get another quarterback in, they have to say
By
these
I
default.
agree.
things,
Over
but
Tim Boyle, yeah. I
but
mean, he probably does.
I just can't.
Let's say about Tim
I can't
Boyle.
imagine how you look the other 52 guys in the face in that locker room and say, like, we're not going to do anything as an organization to upgrade the quarterback position, and we're going to just go down with Zach Wilson, because that team with Zach Wilson, I don't know how many games they're going to win. I mean, point blank.
I don't see them beating anybody with him playing, unless that they change the way they're doing it and live with some mistakes. If you make him play like that, he can't. He's not good enough.
No.
He's not good enough to play without sort of letting it rip a little bit, and then he's not good enough to avoid mistakes. So you're screwed either way.
Yeah, there were some stretches in his rookie season. They're like a 2-game stretch. I act like it was like a whole year, but like I think it was like 2 or 3 games where he was just letting it rip, and he made some really good throws off structure, like outside the pocket against Tennessee. They beat Tennessee in Tennessee, I think, his rookie season. They upset them.
I remember that.
And he made some really good down the field throws, and you just wonder, like, maybe he is just kind of a loose cannon, and like trying to put training wheels on him and trying to strap him down might not be the best thing for them, because like at this point, like, who cares? Like, that's what I was thinking on Sunday. It was like just chuck one up to Garrett Wilson at some point. Like, who
Can't
cares?
believe they didn't try. How many
Right.
times did I say it?
Like,
That was what scared me when the game was that close and it was coming down to the end, and you're
They-
looking at the
they
score
never
and you're
even
like, how
tried
is
it.
this? And you were just waiting for that one.
Who cares
Zach
about the
Wilson.
Jets? Brett in Austin, Texas says, I thought Fred would be much happier with the implosion of the Jets as he hoped for. Is he just feeling bad for them? Hell no, I don't feel bad for them.
They get what they deserve.
I'm happy.
I think Fred was looking for Aaron Rodgers to just not work.
Yeah, that kind of implosion.
Like I mean, even a Fred caliber hater of the Jets would say, well, the quarterback played 4 plays.
So
Yeah.
Trevor Siemian signing with the Jets.
Then there it is.
That's
There you
not,
go.
that's not
Then
gonna
that's
do
not
it.
good enough.
No, that's not it.
It might have been good enough on Sunday.
Yeah.
But it's funny
it's not
because
good
that
enough to do
literally
it.
just broke as we were having this conversation.
Who is their backup right now?
Tim Boyle.
I know.
See,
Who is he?
that's the other thing is you're right, Fred. We can get off the Jets here, but like they should have. I think I understand why they had to keep Wilson, but they should have brought someone in for a bet. There were a lot of veterans that changed teams that they could have signed.
Yep.
All right, 855-PATS-500 is the Ace Ticket Hotline. Web radio at Patriots.com is the email address. 1-2 Patriots heading to Dallas. Dallas had a bad loss to the Cardinals, who we thought were giving up on the season before it even started, but I guess
Apparently
not.
not.
They've been playing tough. Sean's in Vancouver. What's up, Sean?
I have a rant on that
Hey,
later
Fred, I
too,
have
please.
a few things.
Yeah.
So on the broadcast during the Patriots' first drive, the graphic for the starting offensive line, for some reason, I don't know why, it said Calvin Anderson was at right tackle.
Because
I don't think
that was
Anderson
what it said on the flip
played
card.
more than a couple snaps.
He didn't play.
Yeah, I don't know why they put that. Well, I think he did.
Because that was
came into
the
game one.
that was the offensive alignment that they had on the flip card, so that you only go by the
Yeah,
information they have. But yes,
they're not
Vadarian Lowe
looking.
played right tackle for the whole game.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole game. Yeah, crazy. No, I agree. I agree with you, Fred, as well about this particular game. That it's a win, and that's what it is. And I think it's what you were saying, Paul. Like people have these crazy expectations of what it was 5 or 6 years ago, and that's not what this team is. It's a middling team, and like you're saying, like there's toss-up games. This was a toss-up game. If I'm looking at it, I'm going to say there's 5 games coming up that I'm going to pencil in as a loss, where the others are toss-up. So if everything went the way I think it will go, which it won't, but I would say they could win 10 games, and it doesn't mean they're a great team. It doesn't mean they're a terrible team. They're somewhere in the middle, and that's what that is. But one thing about Wilson though that I did find a little better. Yeah, he's awful, but from last year he was making the mistakes where they were getting in pressure and he'd throw interceptions. At least this game he threw it away. He threw it out of bounds. Or
Yeah.
I don't know which one's better.
Yeah, I disagree. I thought he created a lot of the pressure that he faced. They were all over him because he just kept drifting out of the pocket. And
Yeah, the last 2 games that they've played him, instead of being a turnover machine, he's been gun shy. And I don't know which one is better. Like you said, it just invites pressure to just sit there and hold the ball.
If I were
and
the
hold
Jets,
the
I would
ball.
much rather the 22-17 loss in the first game last year than the last 2.
Yeah,
Because at least you had a puncher's chance.
yeah.
Thanks, Sean. Let's go to Todd in North Carolina. Hey, Todd.
Hey, I found it a little bit disconcerting, Paul's comment about the fact that if they had, say somebody like Minshew, there's a good chance they could have won that game. And I feel like I said when I called in previous, I thought Mac was doing all that he possibly can. So I don't know. I'm curious, what is the issue? Is it a Mac issue? Is it a coaching issue? Is it the way the offense is constructed issue? Is it a lack of specific players? Or is it all of it?
Well,
What's
I
going on
think
with
they're
our
going
team?
through this transition. Like there was one play, I think Mac was setting up for a screen. He takes a snap and his feet were all over the place because he was just expecting, all kinds of pressure. And I think the line played pretty well on Sunday, especially in pass coverage.
I think
pass protection.
I think the line was better than it has been.
But I don't think Mac.
I think Bill nailed
Mac's
it.
not trusting it yet. He's not trusting it
I
yet.
disagree with your assessments of the line.
Yeah, I think Bill nailed it.
You don't think it played well?
Well, you
No.
only throw 29 times, you're not going to get sacked very much.
Okay. But
That's the difference. You throw 54 times, you get sacked
I
two
mean,
or
he
three
got
times.
hit. He got hit a lot. Mac did.
But you need to release Mac like you guys said that they needed to release Wilson. Take the risk because if he doesn't at least try to feast, he's just total famine.
Well,
he's going to be
but he's-
a disaster.
I mean, he's like leading the league
do
in
they
deep
have
shot
to
attempts,
redo
you
and
know,
really
like-
I'm just
focus on
confused.
getting
I don't know how
Mac
we got
more
on Zach
involved.
Wilson.
I'm confused. Like, what are we? So they're supposed
Thanks,
to
Todd.
cut Matt? But
He's talking about Zach Wilson there at
Oh.
the end.
Oh, I
don't-
thought he was
don't-
talking about Mac.
He said Wilson.
Yeah, he said Wilson.
Anyways,
We're off
the offensive line, I do not think played well in this game in
No?
pass protection. This is the highest pressure rate that Mac's ever faced in a game.
Well, it's
his
the
career.
Jets, though. I mean, you knew they were going to pressure.
But the Jets are a good defensive front, but they're
yeah.
not necessarily a ferocious pass rushing unit.
But they cause pressure.
Yes, and I think they did.
They're a strong defensive front. They're
Right.
gonna win a lot of one-on-ones.
I
Right.
thought that Trent Brown was absolutely phenomenal. the best game I've ever seen him play. Absolutely,
Funny how that works.
absolutely
After a race.
phenomenal.
After a race.
Like the number one star of the game for me by a long shot was Trent Brown.
And I've seen other people echo that. I don't.
And then
my
I'm
thing,
gonna play the other side of the fence and say I have real worries about Cole Strange and if he can play in this league.
But like I'm watching a lot of the all 22.
Strong statement.
Brian Baldinger and all those guys, and they're showing some really good blocking, especially when Zeke was running the ball.
Run blocking is different.
Yeah.
Run blocking, I thought they did better this
Yeah.
week. They started moving the line of scrimmage a little bit, which is good to see. Double teams were working. Cole Strange is a big problem for them at left guard. Antonio Mafi's not much better. I think he's probably worse. And right
Which says a
tackle,
lot.
Vidarian Lowe, don't want to bash him because, like, he's in that spot for no reason. Like, it's not his fault that he's playing. Or, being asked to go up against John Franklin Myers and Bryce Huff one-on-one. But I think some of the things that I've seen out there that he only gave up one quarterback hit and he played. No, stop. He gave up 8 pressures in this game.
I feel bad.
That's a lot.
I
That is
feel
a high number.
bad that Clem is tasked with turning a mess into a masterpiece, in the sense of like 1, bad drafts,
But it
2,
shouldn't
bad
be-
free
it
agency,
shouldn't
but
be
then
a mess.
also
No,
I know,
yeah.
but it is a mess.
You
because
It's the same 4 guys that played last year.
like-
You're just replacing win.
But I think the injuries too, with those guys being in and out, it's like without having these guys out there consistently, it's like how do you find cohesion?
And that's what I was kind of like holding my breath for. But Cole Strange looks exactly the same as he did as a rookie. Like he's not
Agreed.
going to suddenly gain 20 pounds and be able to handle. Like he's never going to be able to handle Quinnen Williams. You're going to play him twice a year. Every time it's going to be a problem with him
You
going
need help.
in that.
He, the Jets' very first drive of the game put Quinnen Williams over Cole Strange in the 3 technique and just dared him to block him one-on-one, and he could not.
He missed like one play, and it was the 58-yard touchdown.
On skates the entire game.
The one thing I'll say that, like, I do think, obviously the production in the running game was tremendous.
Really good
Like,
run blocking game.
157 yards. I do think that Billy O did a great job in this game of hitting them with periodic runs in passing situations, and they took advantage of it. Like, I'll give an example is right after the Jets kicked a field goal to make it 10-3. So they kick off. It's a touchback. You take over 1st and 10 on the 25. 2-minute drill. First play, 14 yards Zeke. Like that's we caught him. That's the old school like Charlie Weiss. Like let's get the 2-minute drill started with a run. And I did think Zeke ran better in this game than in the first 2.
Yep.
But I thought they had a couple of well-timed runs that caught the Jets looking for pass.
They schemed it up well.
Yeah.
They timed it up well, and the run
And they
blocking
blocked
was,
it up well.
was well. The double teams that I've been talking about, that it's just been no movement in the middle of the line. They had quite a few in this game, especially in the second half, where they were moving the line of scrimmage.
So what I would say, just Freddie, just to put a bow on the running thing is, but when you needed to run the ball and the other team knew you were going to run the ball, you couldn't get an inch.
Right.
Like that's why I hesitate to just look at the numbers.
All right, when we come back, I want to talk about Rhamondre a little
Yeah.
bit.
It's a good one.
Because he didn't look right.
Yeah.
But Bridgestone is the official tire of the New England Patriots, and Bridgestone tires are now on sale through September 30th. Better hurry at all Sullivan Tire locations. Visit sullivantire.com for a location near you. Paul's Foods here. We'll be right back.
Get in on the action with DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the New England Patriots. New customers can download the DraftKings app now and play free for millions in prizes using code PATS. That's code PATS only at DraftKings. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
Isn't it time to get exactly what you want? Welcome to Red Hot Deal Days from Verizon, where you get your pick of our best deals. Like My Plan, where you can pick the perks you want and save on every one. For limited time, bring your own phones to a Verizon store and you can get My Plan for our best price ever. Get exactly what you want on your phone plan and only pay for what you need. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today and get My Plan. These deals won't last. It's your Verizon.
And hello again, everyone. A very pleasant good afternoon, and welcome to MetLife Stadium in the Meadowlands. It's a Week 3 encounter in the AFC East of the 0-2 Patriots and the 1-1 New York Jets. A second down and 9 from the 26. Again, and a tackle in the backfield. Jennings ran it all the way, nearly took the exchange from Wilson to Hall, and the Jets absorb a loss of 6 back to the 20.
What a read.
Shotgun snap to Jones. Blitzer's coming. He's pressured. Throws to the left. Gesicki has it at the 40 outside with a shove by Amos. The safety trailing the play. And Mac Jones able to absorb a hit and float one to Gesicki to the Jets' 36.
Boy, talk about hanging in the pocket here. David Andrews doubles Quentin Williams. He ends up getting through Michael Winnow and Andrews, but it's a really good throw on the quick out to Gesicki. It's an 18-yard out. He's the inside slot. And boy, did you need a play there.
From the New York 42, ball on the near hash. 3 receivers right for Wilson. A blitzer coming. Wilson stands in, moves up. Now he's pressured. And he spins.
Oh, nobody touched him.
On his own. He fell to the backside and then is touched up. Uche and Wise eventually to the quarterback. The blitz was picked up well with Jabril Peppers coming from the second level.
God, does that stink?
Wilson falls.
Great for us. Great for us. You're in the pocket. You feel a little pressure, condenses on you, and you pirouette and go down to your bum. Like, you can have him there. Oh, man. Nothing worse than a guy that goes down without being touched.
Mac Jones backs up, tries to screen. The ball is tipped and then nearly intercepted. Quentin Williams got a hand on it. And the ball was nearly caught by Michael Carter on the run.
This is starting to get to the point, this double screen that we've been running. This is 3 games now. Teams are starting to get this on film. Perfectly sniffed out by the Jets. They were waiting for it on Rhamondre. They ran Douglas on a jet motion to the left, faked it to him, came back to Rhamondre, almost a pick 6.
And now Ryland will attempt another 48-yarder, this time in the other direction from straight on. Knee down, Behringer turns to his classmate. And then the rookie takes a high snap, gets it down. Ryland's kick sailing to the uprights. That kick is no good off to the right. There's a high snap. And the rookie, who made his second career field goal in the first quarter, has his first miss here in the second. So again, a 57-yard try from the far hash. Behringer, right knee down, turns to Ryland. He leans forward in his stance. Cardona snaps it high. Snap is down, kick is a low line drive, and it hooks to the left, well short.
High snap.
And again, a second high snap on a second missed field goal attempt by Ryland. The Patriots come up empty on the 57-yard attempt going awry to the left. It's still 10-3 at the half. All right, Zach Wilson goes to work from the gun for New York. They have really struggled the last 3 quarters against the Patriots, even by Jets pass standards. Play fake, and now Wilson's in trouble. He's back.
Yes!
And he's sacked. Great coverage, and eventually Jennings and Barmore collapse on the quarterback inside the 25. The officials are going to mark it at the 26.
He doesn't want to get hit. He's staring at the rush right now. He's staring at the rush. He doesn't have his eyes downfield. He sat down on the last drive, pirouetted. I'm shocked, like when Aaron went down, and they had that next meeting the next day, and hey, we're saddling up, we're riding with him, that's what we're doing. Shocked they didn't go veteran shopping. Running with purpose today. It's a Mostert last week.
Ran for over 8,000 yards. Again, a quarterback sneak, and now they've got a fight brewing. Mosley slams the Patriot to the turf.
Mosley should be ejected here.
And
that wasn't your quarterback, was it?
Yeah, and Jones got pushed again.
It is
Garner
Jones.
just shoved Matt Jones to the turf. And yet, no flags to this point.
Are you kidding me? This crew.
Bill Vinovich,
the
veteran referee who's worked 2 Super Bowls, including Super Bowl 49.
Mosley should be ejected.
Without a flag, how can you allow what just took place to go without a penalty?
You've got to be kidding me.
Mosley drove down Mac Jones at the end of the play. And
Play's
you got
dead.
a jet. Whitehead's
blown.
coming in, throwing jabs at Jones. Gesicki moves right to left. Jones with a play fake. And a throw down the right seam. It's caught by Pharaoh Brown. Racing to the 20. 15-10. Chased by Amos at 5. Stretching out to the pylon. A dive for a touchdown. Patriots.
You've got to be kidding me. This ball hung so much on Jones, I thought the safety was going to get there in time. It's got to be a busted coverage on the Jets, or they just showed zero respect for Pharaoh Brown to be in any sort of a route combination. And it's a great call by Bill O'Brien because he's basically lined up at fullback. And then you snuck him up that right tight end seam. Nobody within 5 yards of him.
58 yards to Pharaoh Brown. His first catch as a Patriot running under it. Play fake, roll right, And a throw in the flat for Gesicki. Contained, runs to the outside, tackled in the open field by Quincy Williams, and Mike is dragged to the near boundary at the line of scrimmage. And there's a flag that came in late, and Williams is irate.
Tell me Juju didn't hit the guy late with a clip. He took out Mosley, I think, did Juju.
Mac Jones with a second down and 13 from the 17-yard line. 3 to the left, 2 to the right. Mac dropping back. Whistle sound. Play is stopped in its tracks. There's a flag on the far side.
Offense number 77. 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
With Elliott off the right hip of Jones. Mac extending the hands. Another flag. Another full start.
False start. Offense number 71. 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
That's all it takes. Takes one silly, undisciplined play to sort of bring a plethora of them. Then they all start. Then it all falls in line.
Now 3rd and goal to go. Jets quick snapping. Wilson rolls to his right, chased by Judon. Wilson looking to the end zone, throws to the end zone, and it's incomplete. Cobb in the back of the end zone.
Oh my God.
Miles Bryant defending. Randall Cobb falling over. And then a flag is thrown relatively late.
It's a non-catchable ball unless you're going to get him for a hold here. And if you complain enough, I guess you get the flag.
The call is pass interference. And Peppers taking up the cause for the Patriots, pleading with Bill Vinovich.
Pass interference. Defense number 27. The foul occurred in the end zone. Ball was placed at the 1-yard line. Automatic first down.
Tough break because that's chuck and duck play there. 3rd down. Quick snap it. You got nothing. That's thrown up in the back.
As it turns out, the Jets have a 1st and goal to go from the 1. They put Rucker is the top.
It's a dive. You have both hands on him.
Paul, the tailback. It's a handoff to the up man, and Bodden on the plunge, in for a score. Touchdown, New York. So Nick Bodden, the fullback, with his first career rushing attempt, and the Jets with a quick hitter. On the fullback plunge off the pass interference in the end zone, have drawn within a single score at 13-9.
Control this game. You let this dog stink team break back in. Just needed one drive, that's it. When you're in a slog of a game like this, it's not like you're running away at 3-possession game, it's one.
The Jets backed into a 3rd and 15 at their 5. The quarterback taking the snap. 4-man rush. Push up the middle. Wilson's kick. And Wilson goes down in the end zone. Judon is there for the sack and the safety.
That'll wrap her up. Oh, man, what an unawareness by the quarterback, though. Whole pocket's collapsing around you. You spun out the prior play. You know your offensive line's really struggling right now, as we are at times. But man, just poor awareness by Wilson. Great job by Judon, just shutting him down.
We got the final play of this game forthcoming. 1 second left. Ball be snapped on the 46 far hash mark. 3 receivers, 1 to the right, 1 to the left. 2 deep safeties for the Patriots, and I mean deep at the 5. Wilson scrambles to the right, pulls up, steps up, steps up. He lost a high throw toward the end zone. That ball will come down in the crowd. It's batted away. It's deflected away.
Oh, my God.
And nearly caught by Cobb on the goal line. It's incomplete, and the Patriots win it.
My God. That's a perfect throw by Wilson, man. 2 yards deep, and it allows for the deflection, the carom, and a potential catch, and boy, did they almost get it.
Kyle Duggar went airborne.
Knock it
and
down.
Duggar, with 2 hands, swatted the ball back, and Randall Cobb was at the goal line for the Jets and nearly caught it. And he's been a part of those types of completions in the past with Aaron Rodgers.
Oh my God, that's a great point.
And that was a Rodgers-like throw to the end zone by Wilson in that spot. And as we get another look on the replay, the ball hit the hands of Cobb. It hit the hands of Cobb.
Gonzalez turned his back too. He had no clue where the ball was. He was trying to box out Garrett Wilson. Oh man.
All right. You hear the term every March, survive in advance. The Patriots survived today 15-10. And now with a 1-2 record, they advance into week 4 to take on the Dallas Cowboys with a 15th consecutive victory over the New York Jets.
Patriots Unfiltered is brought to you by the Massachusetts Office of Travel and Tourism. Great memories are made in Massachusetts, no matter how you choose to make them. Indoors or outdoors, scenic views or city vibes, solo or family style, whatever moves you, whatever the season, plan your perfect Massachusetts getaway at visitma.com. I mentioned Rhamondre Stevenson before the break. What's going on with him?
Yeah, it was put him on the down list in the post-game show, and then I guess yesterday Bill was asked about it. The question was, is Rhamondre right now identifying the holes the way that you would like him to identify them, or is he just not rolling off as many maybe 5 or 10 yard runs as he has in the past in terms of yards per carry? Bill's response, I think Rhamondre reads blocks really well, probably as good as anybody we've had here. He's got really good vision, blah, blah, blah. So to me, it seems like everybody kind of recognizes that Rhamondre isn't kind of playing up to the standard that we kind of hold him to. And, a little bit of success by Zeke, I think, highlights it a little bit, because you said, well, one guy's able to at least have a productive day, 80 yards, it is what it is. Why isn't he? And I think it's a great question. I'm not sure.
Did the Jets kind of do something different when Rhamondre was back there compared to Zeke?
There was so much of setting up the blocks, and it seems like it's slow to get there, and it almost seems like he's delaying and waiting for something to happen, and then it just kind of comes to an end. And instead of waiting and then boom, he's gone. So I'm not sure.
Two quick things, and I want to throw it to Evan for Fred's question. If you noticed anything, I think the shotgun runs are not conducive to Stevenson. We talked about this last week. I don't think that's his best strength, is to get the ball at a standstill, and then he kind of is looking to pick a hole as opposed to breaking the tackles, like when he led the league in yards after contact. But I do think there's something to the fact of when Zeke was in there, they're sort of treating it different. And I don't know if you noticed any personnel changes, Evan, when you watched the
not necessarily personnel changes, but 2 weeks in a row now, the defenses are slanting or trying to knife into gaps to get penetration in the backfield. And Rhamondre is his idol in football was Le'Veon Bell. What he's running like. He wants to run like Le'Veon Bell. Where he kind of hangs out behind the blockers, looks through the navigates through the line, and then boom, right? And hits those 10, 15, 20-yard runs when he's rolling. To be patient and to be that type of runner, you need to have good initial push by the offensive line, because if there's early penetrators, then that just completely throws it off, the entire process for the running back. So I asked him last week about the gun versus under center, and he said that there's advantages to both. The under center, he gets that head of steam, which he likes, but in the gun, he can read the second level, he said, a little bit easier. He can kind of manipulate the linebackers and read the second level a little bit easier. So he kind of seemed to say that it was, not really the main thing, but I don't know. To me, I agree with Paul that he's a better downhill runner than he is a shotgun runner. And I do think that a lot of, if you put a cut up together of Zeke's runs, positive runs, and then Rhamondre's runs, and put them right next to each other at the same time, you would see differences in, the size of the holes in the blocking, the way the defensive line is playing it. You would see differences. You would.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I landed. And it's never all or nothing. There's probably examples of yards that Stevenson left on the field, but I just felt like most of the time he was getting the ball, he was getting smothered in the backfield. Mm-hmm. And then Elliott was getting the ball, and he had edges and had the ability to get out. And I do think that a couple of his runs were in passing situations. I'm not telling you he was only productive because of that, because I thought he ran really well. He was much better in this game than he was either one of the first two. It's like a whole different player.
Yeah.
See if he could take that to Dallas next.
I mean,
week.
of their top plays, 3 of them were runs, 14 yards, 13 yards, 12 yards, all by Zeke, all first down carries on New England's side of the ball. So, or on side of the field.
What was Stevenson's yards per carry?
Oh, under 3.
Well, so he's at 2.9 for the year.
Yeah, I think he was 3.5.
And for what it's worth, next gen checks, rushing yards over expectation, and he's 4th worst in the league. He's lost 47 yards that they would expect him to pick up. But I think that this is more about he is a type of guy that needs to like know where the creases are going to be, where the holes are going to be, how the blocking is going to develop, and have really good rhythm with the blocks. And I just don't think that timing and that processing is there right now. I don't think it's like anything physical with Rhamondre. I just think that he's not syncing up with the blocks right now.
But I'd throw it to the passing game too, though. And I think 4 targets, 1 catch, 3 yards. We know he had the drop on 3rd down. There's something not right there. He was such a productive player in training camp. I mean, they threw the ball to him constantly out of the backfield when they were getting ready for the season. So I don't know. It's disappointing.
They're holding stuff back.
If it was a little older, I'd be worried.
About wear and tear.
With the workload that he had last year. But he's too young that I think that.
I am a little bit worried about that.
I can't be all of it, but I mean, he had a lot of touches last year.
Yeah. The drop, though, I'll give him a slight reprieve because right as they were going into that sequence of plays, it started downpouring, and right when that happened, and it wasn't raining at that point until that point in the game. So I think that
like the Cincinnati game a few years ago.
That was I think a lot of okay, let's get the towels out, let's get all the different rain gear and stuff like that. So
Enrique in Monterey says, I understand a win is a win, but we are going nowhere. Fred might be thrilled about the win, but we barely beat a college team at best.
Here's where I get angry.
There's nothing college about that defense.
The Jets, there's nothing college about the team.
Yeah.
The only college aspect is the quarterback.
Right.
And I understand that's the most important thing. That's why you won. The Jets are good. You have to get your preconceived notions of the Jets out. The Jets are a good team. They just have no quarterback.
Somehow they beat the Bills. I mean, we can't buy a clue against the Bills, but
I would wonder what'll happen the next time they play when they prepare for Zach Wilson instead of Aaron Rodgers. But
100 to
still no excuse for losing that game that night.
Patty's at Agawam. What's up, Patty?
What's going on, everyone?
Hey.
So I had a little bit of a rant on Mac, and hope you let me get through it. But to me, I mean, I'm sort of going. I'm leaning more towards what Paul and I have been saying. To me, I think he's just. I was Team McClellan for a long time, but I think he might be one of those net neutral, average guys. I mean, the biggest thing I took away from Sunday's game was, well, hell, I mean, he can't close out a game when they're winning. Just they can't come back when they're losing. And maybe, I mean, we saw in the 20 years that Brady was here, those 20 years were dominated by him, Peyton Manning, Ben Roethlisberger. You had a few one-offs with the Ravens, Joe Flacco, and a couple Super Bowl wins with Eli Manning. And maybe, just maybe, get hot down the stretch, you catch lightning in a bottle, and you win a Super Bowl with the guy. But yeah, I just don't see it. I think this defense is completely healthy. More notably, if all the Jones guys are back in the defensive backfield, I think this defense is really good. They're legit. But I don't know if the quarterback's good enough to get them over that hump. And
we'll see.
That's where I'm at right now. And
all right.
I mean, hopefully he looks better down the stretch, but who the hell knows?
All right. Thanks, Patty. Let's go to Bill in Oklahoma. Hey, Bill.
Hey, how are you guys? Real quick, we're going to go back in the Wayback Machine. Remind me, Myers' contract was up at the end of last year. What was the scuttlebutt about not re-signing him?
The scuttlebutt. The scuttlebutt was he was one of the Mac Jones 5.
Yeah, I mean, some people think that he wasn't necessarily on board with the Matt Patricia, Joe Judge offense.
I wonder why.
and he was outspoken about it, and maybe that was the reason why they moved on.
Let me say my part too, which was totally wrong. But hey, let's try to upgrade this spot. Let's try to get somebody who's faster, more athletic for the middle of the field. That was my point of view of why, and it was wrong.
Yep. Same. I'm in the same boat.
Thank you, because that goes into my next point. Is I don't normally get really, really fired up during a game unless it's something that I just can't help. But and Juju is making me lose my hair faster than I should be right now. The personal foul. Okay, so Rhamondre fumbles the ball last year, and he gets pulled out of the game for the rest of the game. Juju misses, and he's not on the same page. He wasn't at training camp. He was barely when he didn't do anything, and then he gets a personal foul. Why are we not pulling him?
Because he's a veteran.
Because you paid him $12
That's
million
not,
bucks.
Paul, I understand, but that's
No,
not.
I'm not telling you I like it. I'm telling you that's the reason. Like
Well,
Ezekiel Elliott
thank you
fumbled
all
the
for
ball the
letting me
first
vent
play
that.
that he was a Patriot. He didn't lose a second of playing time.
Yeah.
Right. It's
It's
a rookie
veteran thing.
The
It's a
one
rookie
thing about Juju that
Yeah.
that concerned me in terms of the Myers versus Juju comp, the metrics favored Juju in a lot of categories, but man coverage was the one thing that Myers is a better route runner, better separator against man coverage than Juju, and has been for a couple years now, and I think that's coming to fruition. Like, I can't help but think that some of those third down plays, maybe Myers and Mack are on the same page and they make those completions, and it's a different situation.
And I'll say this about the Juju and Myers thing, and it's an example of where I think you need metrics. I think the more information you have in sports, the better. The more information, but sometimes you still have to go old school, and I think where people miss it is in a couple of ways. One of them is just what Evan just kind of talked about. Like, Myers just found a way to get open, okay? Another one is who is quantifying the amount of space that Juju Smith-Schuster had to work in Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, as opposed to
That's a good point.
Jakobi Myers with Matt Patricia calling plays
Right.
and Mac Jones and the rest of that skill position guys, okay?
If you can
And
get
one last intangible that doesn't show up on a spreadsheet anywhere is Mac loved the guy. Mac clearly went to Myers when he needed a play. And more often than not, it worked.
Yep.
And they still pulled the plug on it.
Yep.
Like that. Those things don't show up in metrics. It's not yards after catch. It's not man or zone. It's not something you can put on a sheet.
Yeah.
It's something you just have to sort of identify and look at.
I agree with Paul. Like, you can't buy the chemistry that they had, and then these gotta-have-it moments, specifically in the Jets game that just happened. Jakobi would have probably gotten a lot of those third downs, so that y'all would have gotten the first down the Patriots
He would have
needed.
gotten one of them,
Yeah.
for sure.
It just your point of like we from the outside looking in, we know that Mac and Jakobi were close and they had good chemistry, but from the outside looking in, we can only go with the information that we have, right? And there's two things about the Juju signing that really irk me. One is the chemistry thing on the field with Mac and the quarterback and Jakobi. The coaches are with those guys every single day. So they know how close Mac and Jakobi were. They know how much Mac trusted Jakobi, and they still went this way. The other thing is the medicals. They knew when they signed Juju that his knee was a problem, and they did it anyways. So those are two pieces of information that we do not have as much information. We all watch the same film. We all have the same stats, but we don't have the ability to be inside the locker room to know the relationships with the players as well as they do, and we don't know the medical side of things. And those two boxes clearly have favored Jakobi Myers heavily, and they just ignored them.
Yep. Bill, you got anything to
And
wrap
the
it up?
Raiders are proving it. Of all the teams in the NFL, the Raiders are proving that he is the better receiver at this point. It's just amazing.
Yep.
All right. Thanks for the call, Bill. Let's go to Eldred, North Carolina. Hey, Eldred.
Ooh.
Hey, fellas,
Elongated.
ladies, how y'all doing?
All right.
Elder.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little disappointed, but Evan, I feel your pain, bro. I've been feeling your pain for 15 years.
Playmaker pain.
Playmaker. I've been saying.
He's looking for a playmaker.
We don't need it. We don't need a good one outside. We got one in the middle. Yeah, that's when we had Brady.
I get
We ain't
misquoted
got
so
Brady,
much.
Right, Paul?
I get misquoted so
Eldred.
much. Someone wrote an
Preaching to the choir,
SPFW
my
said
man.
someone wrote an SPFW and a guy who hates me with a passion. I'll say that up front. He writes vicious stuff to me all the time,
I
which
love you, Paul.
is fine because I take them all. But he suggested that I said that they should trade a lot of resources to get Justin Fields. Like, can you guys tell me when I suggested?
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you guys about that because I was like,
can you guys say that? Like, I said that if you wanted Justin Fields, he would have been easily, because the Giants, the Bears didn't have to give up much to go from like 20 to 11, and the Patriots were 15, so they wouldn't have had to give up much to do it.
Yeah,
and I liked Justin Fields coming out. I'll own that. I'm not going to walk away from that. I liked Justin Fields' skill set. I even am so stubborn that I think, God forbid, that if he had a competent head coach like Bill Belichick, that maybe Justin Fields would be even better than you think. you know, in this kind of a school. Now, maybe it wouldn't have worked. Maybe he still would have gotten Matt Patricia and it wouldn't have worked. Who knows? But I would have liked to have seen Justin Fields work with Josh McDaniels as a rookie and see where he is in year 3 as opposed to Matt Eberflus and Matt Nagy, which I think has been a disaster in Chicago. But I never suggested trading a lot of resources to do that, to move up 4 spots.
Nope.
Carry on, Eldred. Sorry.
We should have got it.
Yeah.
But other than that, Evan, me and you going to be crying for the next couple of years because this GM, this regime won't get the guy that we need. And if they come to Jesus meeting with Mr. Kraft or till he's gone, that's the only time we're going to get them kind of guys. So we're going to be doing this for 4 years. I've been doing it for 10.
I'm with you, Aldred.
4 or 5, I'm still living. We'll be there.
All right.
I'm with you.
Thanks,
And Patty was talking about Mac, and I think, I don't want people to think that I think Mac stinks. I don't think Mac stinks.
I don't either.
I just think that he's average. But in order to get him to be better than average, they have to do what Eldred is saying. And that's all I've been saying all along was we have to call a spade with Mac, which is that he's just okay. Not terrible, not good, just okay. But if he had better weapons around him, I can't help but thinking it would be better. Now, if you want to upgrade the quarterback and you want to go down that path, fine. Like that's a fine way to solve the problem too. But if this is who your quarterback is and there's really no upgrade or reasonable upgrade, then the only logical thing to do is to go get him a Garrett Wilson, to go get him a Tyreek Hill.
I mean, I'm watching like the Raiders game, and I know this, Garoppolo's a step below the elite quarterbacks, but like Devontae Adams makes him so much better.
Put it in the zip code.
Yeah.
I think
how many
example,
picks I would give up for Devontae Adams would be a boatload.
I mean, the prime example is the 49ers. You look at Mr. Irrelevant, and you look at who is around him. Like if you put Brock Purdy on this team, he would not look the way he looks right now. I mean, he did not play well the other night, and they still won. Their offense still looks incredible.
Yeah.
Because of who they surrounded him with.
Yeah.
You could put anybody in that offense. I mean,
can we take Shanahan too? Or
yes.
Is that not allowed?
You could put anybody except maybe Zach Wilson in that offense, and they're gonna look great.
He might make Zach Wilson look good.
Willems and Phillum, what's up, William?
Hey, Fred, how you doing?
All right.
All right.
Breathe. They won. Breathe.
Paul, I'm telling you, they're killing me, Paul. The Patriots are killing me. Anyway, okay, let me say it like this. 3rd and 6, 3rd and 16, 3rd and 18. Mac needs his number 1 wide receiver. I mean, can we stop with this? Well, okay, if the receiver stop fumbling the ball and all this old nonsense, okay, how about just stop playing these old dumb games, right? And let's go get Justin Jefferson. Give up 2 first-round picks, a 3rd, and pay the damn man, please. Can we really get this man a receiver now? I mean, we've been going through this for too long now. I mean, like, as long as Bill's GM, it's a mess, man. We got to get rid of this. We got to get rid of him as GM. I understand the coach thing because I know Juice got his hand in his back pocket, so I know how that's going to go. But you know what I mean. But
the thing is, it's like there were guys that were available.
Number 1 receiver.
I do like the whole thing about Bill the GM. Like, look, I'm the first one to get on the soapbox with William about the receivers. Like, we're all on the same page there. The rest of the roster, though, other than maybe tackle, is not that bad. Like, the rest of the defense is stacked. Like the defense might have some of the best depth and most talent of any defense in the NFL besides maybe San Francisco's. Like, they are stacked on defense, and they're not even healthy, and they're going to get some of the guys back. Like, Jonathan Jones didn't even play. Jack Jones, I think, is working his way back and is getting close, and he's eligible to return after week 4. Like, they're getting some guys back to even add to what they've already done on defense. Like, Keon White is going to be a game wrecker, I think, whether it's Barmore level or more, regardless, he can't even get on the field, right? Like, they can't even play him or Marty Mapu right now. They've made strides in areas of this roster. They just have not at the receiver position. Like, that's really all it is. Like, if they had a Jerry Jeudy, if they had a T. Higgins, they're not going to get Justin Jefferson. So let's just give up on that. Yeah. But if the Bengals keep heading down the path that they're heading down right now in their season, and they're not going to pay T. Higgins at the end in the offseason, at the deadline, yeah, I would absolutely be calling the Bengals. The same thing with the Broncos and Jerry Jeudy.
Judy's your guy if you're looking to make a deal. I think Cincinnati's going to be fine.
Yeah,
provided that Burrow's
very possible.
calf doesn't explode.
I think Denver.
Denver's going to be looking.
If you like somebody on that roster,
Judy,
he's going to be available.
I would call for Judy now.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't wait until November 1st to make that deal. Like, I would try to get him in the building as soon as you possibly can. I would be calling Denver immediately and being like, we offered you this in the, because I believe there were reports out there that they tried to trade for Judy in the offseason already.
If you're the Jets, would you trade for Russell Wilson?
In that contract? No.
Yikes.
Kenny in Flatsboro. I did that. I'm sorry, Kenny.
Pull the Felger.
All right. So while you're waiting for him to call back.
I'm not waiting.
Okay. So just real quick, the Arizona thing, I find it. I don't know if you guys saw any of it. Did you guys see the video of Monty Austinford, by the way?
Oh, no.
Going absolutely crazy after
no.
they won the game. Okay. They very much are tanking, and I'm glad this got brought up because I think tanking is one of the most misunderstood words in sports. They're playing their asses off. When you tank, it's a philosophical decision to get rid of as many players that might help you win games as you can that aren't going to be there to be part of when you expect to be good again. And that's why you see like Isaiah Simmons get traded before the season. Like he's not going to re-sign him, so he's not going to be around. But that's 3 games that they played their butts off. And who's their offensive coordinator, Evan?
So their offensive coordinator, I actually had to do some research on him because I've never heard of this guy.
Okay.
Drew Pearson or something like that.
That guy's coaching his butt off.
Yeah, no, their offense is really well designed.
All 3 games they came out of the locker room ready to go up, especially the last 2. Less so against Washington. The Giants in the Dallas game, they were unstoppable in the first half. That tells me that they're
Drew Petzing.
Okay.
Never heard of.
Where's he from?
It's Petzing, not Petting.
Coordinator or something. Yeah.
Not of the Cardinals because I don't know who this guy is.
So that they obviously have some game plans that are completely taking the opponent by surprise. Now, they don't have a lot of talent, so eventually they get slowed down. But that's tanking. You can play hard. You got a bunch of young guys that are trying to win the game and trying to establish themselves as NFL players. And they probably should be 2-1. Right,
yeah.
And they could be 3-0 with a break here or there. They were right in the Washington game. They blew the Giants game, and then they blew the Cowboys out because they kept coming up with red zone stops. The Cowboys were 1 for 5 in the red zone.
Their offense is really well done
with Josh Dobbs. And, Joshua Dobbs can't play.
Like
and they're scoring.
They have a lot of team speed on the offense too, and they gave Dallas a ton of problems. And I was like,
222.
The
rushing.
misdirection and the eye candy and all this. I was like, what? Who is this offensive coordinator? So he came from Cleveland. So he's from that like Stefanski, Norv Turner, like that sort of tree. But I was really, really impressed with how fast and how hard they played in that game against Dallas. Like that was a really, really good offensive performance given what they have.
Kenny's back on the phone. Yeah. What's up, Kenny?
Hey, guys. First time calling into the show, but I just want to let you guys know I watch like all Patriots media. So Evan Lazar, shout out to you, my man. You are a genius.
Shout out, bro.
All right. That far, but thank you, Kenny.
All right.
Let me tell you why. Because I watched the Catch-22 with you and Alex Barr, and
Not
before
a
the
genius.
game, you were talking about going under center, like having the offense go under center. And I was like, well, hey, let me just watch this. And then when the game goes on, I'm watching them go under center, positive play. I'm like, man, Evan Lazar needs to be like the offensive whisperer and in the ear of
that's what Mac thinks.
Belichick, this
Genius
guy.
level, bar lowered.
Might as well be the offensive coordinator.
My man.
Thanks, Kenny. I appreciate it.
Not enough people appreciate Evan.
I love the show, guys.
All right.
And, for me, I'm just looking to see, I'm kind of one of those fans that I'm like, okay, let's just see how this season shakes out, because, I guess I'm a little bit more optimistic. Like, okay, let's see how, our offensive line gets healthier. Maybe Juju gets a little bit healthier. Maybe they're possibly load managing him. Maybe. I don't know. But, let's just see how the season shakes out. I feel like, let's see how we got injuries. I believe in Tommy Curran when he was like, we got a couple of wins there. So I was just going to wait and see.
Yeah,
little engine that could.
The Jets.
I will say
Thanks,
about
Kenny.
Juju, because he's catching a lot of flack, which understandably so. I do think that they're starting to figure out like the best ways to use Juju. I think when they signed Juju in the first couple games, he's running like all of these like quick change of direction routes, like whip routes and things like that, and he's just not creating any separation, and it's just not really his game. So as much as they need to get the timing and the chemistry down on some of these fades that they threw in Sunday's game, like that's the Juju that I remember watching, right? It's down the field routes, slants, digs, fade routes, like slot fades, things like that. Like that's USC, that's Pittsburgh Juju. Like he was never a jitterbug. Like he was never a quick hit, change of direction type of receiver. So I'm hoping that there will be more plays like as they continue to figure out the personnel. And that was the biggest takeaway for me, other than the fact that they were able to play with a lead, so they didn't have to throw the ball 50 times. That they were kind of figuring out, like, all right, how does O'Brien view the personnel, and like what are the best buttons to push here with this group of playmakers? And I thought that they had a nice, more kind of gel to it. Like it looked like the way I would expect it to have looked when they brought O'Brien back, and not as much in the first 2 weeks.
The email address is webradio@patriots.com. David in Bethlehem writes in, guys, take some vitamin D to buoy your mood. Context: Eagles are a top 5 in offense and defense. Miami is top 5 in offense. Jets top 5 in defense. The Patriots are battling. Question: what's wrong with Stevenson stutter stepping every time?
Why don't you take some vitamin D, and realize that he's trying as hard as he can.
Right.
I'm just kidding. No, it's fair. The email's fair. I'm not a big fan of it. I know I predicted it, and it happened. I predicted on the post-game show we will get inundated with, oh, I guess the Patriots defense is better than you thought after they scored 70. I don't care what they did against Denver. I don't care what happens against Denver. I only saw what I saw.
Well, it's what they've done against everybody except the Patriots.
The night against the Patriots, they scored at will. The night against the Chargers, they scored at will. The night against the Broncos, they scored at will. They have a good offense.
Yeah.
They're going to go up and down the field and score points. That's what they're going to do. No, it's not always going to be 24. It's not always going to be 70, but they're a good offense, and the Patriots were fine. Like, I don't think any different of the Patriots based on what other teams do against that same team. It doesn't make sense to me.
Oh, I think it's an indication that the Patriots are better than most defenses.
I agree that I was too harsh on the Patriots defense after seeing Miami score 70 points in a game.
Did you see some of those clips of the Broncos laying on the field?
Yeah,
that's funny.
But
they're taking a nap.
Like, that's how you score 70.
On the other side,
I thought it was Photoshop.
Exactly. I totally agree with you, Fred. I thought one of them was a joke.
But then you can also say, like, they caught Philly in week 1 when they didn't have it. They didn't play anybody in the preseason, and Jalen Hurts really hasn't looked right in any of the games that they've played. I know they've won all 3 of them, but
how many points they scored last night? Like 20?
Yeah,
without the safety and the picks, that set up the field goals.
He doesn't look great, and the point being is that we can play this scheduled game
around we go.
And the bottom line is, I think the Patriots defense played really well against Philadelphia. I thought they played exceptionally well against the Jets. I don't care that the Jets won't score against anybody else. I saw the game. The Patriots defense played really well. Do you know what I mean? Like, if the worst defense in football shuts them out in 2 weeks, I'm not going to say, well, I don't think as much about that. No, on Sunday, your defense needed to get a stop every time it went on the field, or you were going to lose, and they did. That's good defense. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter to me if they go out and score no points against the Chiefs on Sunday. Like, I won't say, well, the Chiefs' defense is better than the Patriots.
I mean,
does
it really make anyone feel better to watch, like, Miami roll 70 on somebody? Does that really make you feel better?
The only thing I'll say is it made me laugh. It was fun to watch. We were watching the red zone behind you right now, and it was unreal. Just every time we looked up, some Dolphin, like, I saw that some guy who no one ever heard of was saying that he had talked to a lot of personnel people around the league, and they felt like that was disrespectful, that they ran it up. The last touchdown they scored was a 68-yard run.
Yeah. What's he supposed to do?
I'm like,
I think it was disrespectful. They didn't go for the record.
And they took
a knee.
They took 2 out of the game.
Yeah,
so
Tua didn't play in the fourth quarter. I don't know how that's disrespectful. They did throw a long pass to Robbie Chosen.
You know what was disrespectful? The effort that the Denver defense put
That
out.
was much more disrespectful than anything else.
Thank you, Fred. I agree.
And listen, I am not going to tell you that I'm not like in the pros, you shouldn't run. I've seen running it up.
Yeah.
And there's times that I think it's disrespectful and you shouldn't do it.
Patriots in 2007.
That wasn't it.
It's not.
No.
That wasn't it. That wasn't running up. You don't take a knee there.
Right.
Bill would have kicked a field goal there. There's no doubt in my mind.
I would have kicked the field
to
goal.
make it 73.
Well, then McDaniel talked about that. Not going for the record. I mean, I respected what he
Because
had to
it wasn't
say. Of
important
like,
to
you
him.
know, he's like, look, and I mean, you know, not that karma is real, but I mean, those are the things going through that head coach's mind and how they're operating.
And I'm not telling you McDaniel did the right thing. Maybe he should have kicked the field goal. I don't know. But I'm just telling you, if you're running up the score, you're trying to score every point you can. You're not taking your starter out. You're not running the ball exclusively, and you're not kneeling in field goal range.
Right.
Yeah, I just don't know what you like. I always look at games like that. And I'm like, so, like, what do the Patriots do against this offense? Because now the Miami Dolphins are in your division. They have a whiz kid as a head coach. They have Tua playing well, and they have all the speed and all these receivers. Etienne, the running back, runs like a 4.3. Like, they're the fastest offense in the NFL. No doubt about it. With a great coordinator running the show and a good quarterback to distribute the ball. And if they can run the ball like that against you and they can hit the deep pass, like, I don't know what you do. Like, the Patriots emptied the box and they played a lot of too deep, and I kind of killed them for it because of they're just giving up all the yards on the ground and surrendering, but then he runs for 200 yards. Like, I just, that's such a tough offense to defend.
Did you see that, the next gen stuff with the speed? Like the six fastest ball carriers this year in 3 weeks are all Dolphins.
Yeah.
It's like 2 for Hill, 2 for Mostert, and 2 for A-Chain.
It's wild.
I think he says it's A-Chan now.
A-Chan.
The all 22 of their offense, like, they get guys so far up the field that sometimes you can't even see them on the
the
bird's
first
eye view.
touchdown to Tyreek Hill was a little like
I mean, the safeties are playing like 40 yards back just to be deep as the deepest, and then there's just all this space in the middle of the field for Tua to throw into. It's, I don't know. That's scary.
Cody in Indiana, do you think the handling of the end of the half was a bit weird?
Yes.
8 seconds left, still had a timeout, and they run a QB sneak, I guess, to line up for a 57-yard kick in the pouring rain.
Yeah.
Why not a quick pass, pick up a few more yards, call the timeout, and give the rookie kicker a more makeable kick? 57 yards in a downpour is tough, even if you're Justin Tucker.
That was exactly what Paul was saying
100%,
as it was happening.
100% agreement. Now, in fairness to the coaches, they're not expecting a 2 or 3 yard quarterback sneak in that situation. They're expecting 10 or 12 yards. They're expecting him to run untouched and then slide and then call timeout.
Yeah.
Now, didn't work out that way. But yeah, I would have. I don't like the quarterback sneak there, and people that have suggested they were too conservative in the game, they point to a play like that, to which I would say the play before that they threw a bomb that they should have gotten pass interference called on.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think they were conservative. I just thought that was a bad play call.
The weird, like, second down sneaks that they've been
I
doing
hate that.
really needs to go. Like, it's second, like, even outside of the 2 minute, like, they did it last week where it was like 2nd and 1.
A lot of them.
It's one of my pet
They
peeves.
did like 3 of them in that game. Against
I really don't think the first down's that valuable in that spot. Obviously, first downs are valuable in general, but
I get what you meant.
Like, in that spot, like, I just don't really see how it's that desperate.
Overrated.
Second and short is like, it's a cliche at this point of
Right.
like, well, here's your chance to take a shot. I mean, everybody knows it.
They have this first down play that sets up 2nd and 1. And you just wasted it.
Yeah, just get
And
the
it's
first.
Like now
Don't
you
just
have your
get the
whole
first.
playbook open to you. Take advantage of that. If you want to sneak on 3rd down, if you have
You
an
don't get
incomplete,
it.
go ahead.
Yeah.
But, it just bothers me. Micah in South Dakota.
Parsons?
I think considering the conditions and how that game turned out, I feel better about the offense. It looked like a monsoon on TV, and that affected the passing game for both teams. I felt that when we ran power runs, especially the Trent Brown side, the offense looked good. Putting in some play action for Mac was good. I see the offense expanding, and this week against Dallas will be a true test. Also, Denver getting the brakes beat off of them could be good for New England. Let's trade for Jerry Jeudy and get this offense a true weapon. If that's what happens, this offense will become a force. How do you guys feel about the possibility of getting Jerry Jeudy?
Well, I do. If you want to, the first part of that email is exactly what I wrote in after further review. And, like, if you want to have that optimistic view, there's evidence to have that optimistic view. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, like, as a fan, don't be optimistic about your football team, because there are things that they are doing better. There are things that there are, like, moments where you say, oh, if this in week 14, like this might hit where it's not in week 3 because they're still trying to figure things out. It's possible. Like, it's possible that could all happen. Do I believe it will? I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen it for 3 years, so it's kind of hard to say I believe it will, but like it might.
Do you think at the end of the season that we're going to stack up 2022 and 2023 and say the offense was unequivocally better this year than it was across the board? Or do you think that it's going to be very close between what this offense is and what that offense is?
I think it's going to be better. I don't know about unequivocally, but I think you'll look back and you'll say it's better. And it won't just be because I said so.
Because of a progression, you think?
I think they will. I think
really
they will get better. But now, I do, because the email touched on something that I've seen a prevailing thought about the weather and, wait till this week. How'd you feel about the Patriots defense on Sunday?
Great.
Did you guys play? Did they play pretty well on defense Sunday? Has nothing. You don't give the Jets a pass because it was bad weather.
Zach, well, if it wasn't raining,
right?
Zach Wilson.
If it wasn't raining, and like, look at all the plays they missed because like they couldn't try deep balls because it was pouring out. Like, I would never suggest that. I think the Patriots dominated the bag out of the Jets offense. I mean, I don't think the weather had anything to do with how good the Patriots defense played.
2 really good runners, and the Patriots handled them.
Yeah. Right. Just like they handled you because they have a good defense. The weather wasn't the reason why the Patriots didn't score. The Jets' defense was.
Chris with the TIAN, just a win against the Jets, nothing more. Through 3 weeks, I actually feel pretty good about the defense, especially after Miami hung 70 on Denver and Philly.
You should feel good about the defense. They just won a game for you.
And almost 500 yards of offense against the Bucs. However, the offense continues to scare the hell out of me. 2 guys in particular, Juju, who we all were told was an upgrade, is out there running around on one leg looking lost. Then there's Rhamondre. What's up with this guy? He just looks off. Injured? How does Zeke get more yards against the Jets D than him? All right.
I don't know. Those are the big questions, I think. That
I don't know the answer to the Stevenson one.
Those 2 guys. I mean, who are the guys? If it does progress, like the optimistic point of view. Who are the guys that lead the way? Is it? This is another question that's kicking around my brain. It's like, what is Juju going to look like at the end of the season? Are we going to be saying like, wow, he found it, or he's going to get cut this offseason?
My guess is you're going to see him get phased out in the middle of the year as Demario Douglas gets a bigger role. Well, that might be wishful thinking.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I think there are obviously every single game with Demario, there are a million things that he does wrong. Like, I'm just going to be honest about that. But I think at this point, they have to live with the growing pains with a young player because he's the best you got. He's the most explosive weapon that you have. I think him, Bourne, and Gesicki. Gesicki runs good routes, and I think in the passing game, they need to target him a little bit more.
Do you think he's like, I was going to ask you that because he's been really a non-factor.
Yeah.
He makes like 1 catch a game, and they're like, hey, there he is, and then never again.
He runs some really dynamic routes, like, wide receiver level routes, but he does it at like 6'6", whatever, 245 or whatever he is. I would definitely feed him, and I'm not going to do it again to myself, but I'll say it. Like, Tyquan, like, even just having somebody that stretches the field vertically as a decoy, I think will help the underneath stuff a little bit. And if he can get by the defense, once a game, then obviously all the better. But like, I'm not expecting Tyquan to be any sort of high volume receiver. But if they can at least get him to hold the safeties off for an extra split second or something like that, then maybe some of these throws that they are hitting at the intermediate level can have some yak, because it's not like they're completing the pass and then there's like 3 guys converging on Hunter Henry. So I'm not ready to like put it all on Tyquan and believe in Tyquan again, because it will burn me, I guarantee it. But like, even if he's just out there running wind sprints, like, I think it's better than what they have right now.
Thornton, here's a who.
Grab Judy, and I think right now, like, the most reliable thing that you can count on the passing game is Hunter Henry.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And that can't be the most dynamic thing you have on offense. Like, you have to, if it's not going to be somebody else, if it's not going to be Thornton when he comes back.
Well, what's it look like with?
You got to go out and get somebody.
With Thornton, Bourne, and Douglas. What does that look like? Where you
that's one of their fastest groups. That they can, him, Thornton, Bourne, Douglas, Gesicki.
Can Snarky Paul chime in?
Yeah, please.
What does that look like? Bourne and Douglas running into each other and Thornton getting hurt.
Come on.
Damn it!
Paul.
At least you have some people that are fast. Like at least there's
absolutely.
some speed on
it's
the
the
field.
fastest lineup they have.
Yeah.
I just think it's probably the 3 least reliable things they have as well.
No, that's
in the
fair.
passing
They're
game.
true.
And that's how they're going to look at it, and that's why Devontae Parker and Juju are going to
gonna
be
lead
in
the field.
That's why they use Parker and Henry, because those guys, they know where they're going to be. Now, I'm not telling you that you're going to win anything with that, because you're probably not.
Raj in St. Louis, the win on Sunday was what it was, but I did enjoy how Peppers bounced back after a rough game on Sunday night, so shout out to him. My main question is,
Mike will see you after
Is the
practice.
quality of football
Fight you
just
on
flat out bad this year, or am I just overly critical of each team? I try to watch at least some of each team every week, but outside of Miami and San Francisco, I don't feel overly impressed with any team, and the play seems more messy than previous years. Is it lack of practice time, a talent drought, bad coaches, or some other factor? I remember Aikman saying something similar about a year ago, so maybe that's clouding my judgment.
I think we do it every year.
Yeah, and I feel like there's a lot of injuries right now. Like, I mean, I don't know what's going on with Burrow and his calf. The Ravens are battling a whole bunch of things over there. It's like, obviously, Diggs is out this week. Who knows what's happening with, Saints quarterback right now. We might see Jameis Winston. Just a lot of injuries.
Talk about malpractice running Joe Burrow. You're a $275 million man out there on
one calf
on a bad leg in week 3.
They got away with it
season.
too, because he didn't really look like he was under much pressure in the game. Didn't have to move too much.
If I was a Bengals fan, I'd be going nuts that they're putting him out there.
Well, the game's over. I mean, the season's over if you lose that game. You can't fall 0-3.
Tough decision.
Phones are lighting up.
That's a tough one.
I don't know if it's something we said. CJ in KC on the line. What's up, CJ?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey.
I wanted to last week I called in and I was like, hey, is there anything that we can learn from this game? And you guys kind of talked me through how, they play well and things like that, but I feel like we didn't learn anything from this past game. And I know that Tuesday is usually a reflection of what the past week's game was, but I just want to focus on Dallas. Is there anything that you guys think that, we can take away and feel confident with going into this week's game in Dallas and see is there anything that momentum-wise that you guys see that we can bring into this weekend?
Well, I mean, I've heard a lot of people say it's a bad spot for the Patriots because Dallas had a bad loss and now they're going to be refocused.
Maybe.
I think it's a great spot.
Do you think it's a good spot for the Patriots?
Not good, great. I think they're going to have a hard time winning the game. I'm not trying to tell you the Patriots should win it, but I think this is Dallas's MO. They're always super hyped.
Yep.
They lose games they shouldn't lose, and when they do, the wheels come off. They also play San Francisco in Week 5, which they think they're better than the Patriots. So I wouldn't.
Oh, trap game. Trap game.
I wouldn't dismiss
It's a trap.
Those guys just saying that wasn't us last week. We got San
Yeah.
Francisco next week. We got to get ready.
Yeah.
I think it's a really good spot. But to be positive about, they've played 3 games and the Dallas offense has really done very little in the 3 games. They've been very average offensively. Defensively is a different story, but offensively, I don't think they look like they're all that high-powered.
They're running a high school offense. It is we'll get more into this.
I thought I'd put that on the tee for you.
Oh God, because I love Dak. I
think Dak's really good.
I really love Dak, and watching him get neutered by Mike McCarthy is killing me. It's killing me.
They did that?
Can you imagine a guy intentionally in this day and age? I want to get back to the run.
So he is running a high school
Balance.
offense. No team in the league runs more under center than Dallas. And I say the Patriots should run under center because they don't have Dak Prescott as their quarterback, right? So nobody runs more under center plays than Dallas. They run everything out of heavy formations. They run 2-man routes off of play action. It's like Bailey Zappi last year. And then when they go to the shotgun, they run quick game. Like half of his throws are on slants or curls or flat routes. It's like you have CeeDee Lamb, you have Dak Prescott, and you're going to throw 500 slants a game. I really don't fear this Cowboys offense all that much.
I mean, based on the 3 games that I've watched, there's no reason to fear them.
Yeah.
They haven't looked good offensively in any of the 3 games.
The Cardinals played a ton of base defense. They played 30-something snaps in base defense, and they still ran on them. Dallas has a good run game, but that's their offense. They want to run the ball, and they do have a good run game. But if you can stop the run, and they just don't really have a dynamic passing game.
In the last 2 weeks, they lived in the red zone and couldn't score touchdowns. So you have a really good running team that can't score touchdowns in the red zone.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, I would like to know on the defensive side of the ball what they're thinking about with Parsons, watching the Patriots' offensive line struggles, and where they're going to move him, where they're going to put him, how they're going to exploit those matchups.
Yeah, that's not the part of the game plan that I was really optimistic about.
That's the scary
one.
Well,
do you think you can get Parsons? Now maybe he recalculates after that game against Arizona, but Arizona got him cheating up the field,
yeah.
a ton. Like, they ran at Micah Parsons in that game, and they just invited him up the field, and he just blew right past the ball every single time. So if you can use his aggressiveness against him, I mean, it's dangerous, right? Because if you don't catch him, then he's going to blow the play up in the backfield.
Do that crawling thing.
Yeah.
It's like, how does he do that?
But if you can, they are a team that likes to get vertical on the defensive line. They want to get up the field. And if you can kind of catch them with the misdirection and invite that, then you can have some opportunities there.
So shut down the run again, CJ, and then I think you're in another defensive battle.
I agree.
Yep, that's kind of what I was thinking. Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks, CJ. Let's go to London. Henry's there. Hello, Henry.
Poor Dak.
I'm not in London, Frederick. I'm in Leeds.
Leeds. Oh.
Just it's all right. Just to chime in, Cheshire is definitely posh. That was a debate on the post-game show.
Brilliant.
My question, I was just hoping someone could explain the difference to me between Keon White and Dietrich Wise. To me, they seem like similar players, but Keon White's got a lot more upside. And just from the eye test, I couldn't tell you the numbers, but it just seems like Dietrich Wise is getting a lot more of the snaps.
Yeah. I think they're they are very similar players. I think White looks a little more athletic to me than Dietrich Wise, but I think they're
powerful.
they're
Wise
very
is
similar.
Longer.
Yeah, but I think
he's a whole
I
bunch
agree.
of limbs.
Keon White's more powerful,
and Wise has definitely played more. You're right. You're right, Henry.
I would say Wise is play strength in the way that they want play strength in terms of being stout against the run versus pushing the pocket. I think Dietrich is a much more kind of stable player in that sense, and he's really, really improved a ton in run defense.
There was a very underrated play in the game late where 3rd and 10, Wilson scrambled for a first down, and Wise just absolutely bull rushed the guard.
Drew a hold,
and ended up getting a holding call when I think he got caught up in the guy's legs. Guy kind of like
he grabbed
he closed his legs on him and wouldn't let him go.
Yeah, but his Dietrich Wise has become a really solid 2-gapping end, and I just don't really think that they look at Keon White as like a true edge guy, right? Whereas Dietrich is more of like that 3-4 end.
But I think we will see more of White with Aquale.
I do too. But I think you just made a good point there, Evan. I think I was kind of thinking that White would be more of a hand down, more like Wise, but I think he's more than that. He's like you said, they've been standing up a little bit more. I mean, I think he's do both kind of a guy, and that's why he's intriguing.
Yeah, I would like to see Keon White playing with his hand in the dirt on like 3rd down.
Yeah.
Like,
that's why
get him in there.
If Aquale's out, like let's play with him a little bit. Maybe shuffle some things around a little bit.
Danny's in Daytona. What's up, Danny?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hey, Danny.
I just have a couple things to say. Primarily, the first thing I'm going to go with is what you guys talked about earlier, is trading for Keenan Allen, the receiver from the Chargers. I've seen a report them talking about that. That would be an option.
That's not happening
for them to do, just because the Patriots are so desperate right now. How we're, just the offense overall.
No,
so
Keenan Allen is the
him.
Chargers' offense. They're not trading him.
There was a report that was pushed out that
Mike Williams is hurt too now.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
that lessens the chances of trading Keenan Allen.
I also
I would see that.
Great career for Keenan Allen, but. I
18 for 215 does nothing for you.
I just moving a little bit in the wrong direction in the age and the wear and tear.
That's right in Bill's wheelhouse.
Yeah. He was my Aaron Dobson woulda coulda guy.
So that, and then back to the offensive line. I like what they did finally putting Lally at right tackle, because last week that was horrendous watching Calvin Anderson. I mean, the first week I was shocked that they would even put him out there to start against the Eagles. Then the second week, Calvin Anderson just looked absolutely just terrible. I was just wondering, what are the Patriots like? What is Adrian Clem and Bill O'Brien doing out there? And then they made that change up, and Trent Brown comes back. I don't really like Cole Strange at left guard.
I want to say, I don't know who said earlier, someone said Mafi didn't look good, but I think personally Mafi does look a little bit better than Strange, at least playing left guard. But I do think they need to get somebody like they had with Joe Thuney back in there. So next year they have to go out and get tackles. They got guards. We're good on guards. I think they need to just focus on.
You just said that you don't like Cole Strange.
Line.
I said Joe Thuney.
Yeah. All right.
They're basically playing musical chairs at guard, but we're all set at guard.
I guess maybe I've been harsh on Antonio Mafi, probably because he's a rookie. People, grade him on a different scale in their brains, but I haven't really seen it as much as everybody else has with him. But I'm not saying he, that doesn't have an NFL future or anything like that, but just in terms of being like this immediate upgrade over Cole Strange, I don't know if I necessarily see that.
I don't know if I necessarily see it, but I will just say, watching them, as they played both in the game, it's hard to see Cole Strange where he just looks small and he gets pushed around. And, Mafi can't really move all that well, but at least he's got size and he's got like
That's
a
fair.
thickness to him.
He definitely looks the part, but I don't watch enough to tell you like the intricacies.
He can't move side to side.
Yeah.
So like when guys cross his face or he gets into that one-on-one pass rush where he's dancing with the pass rusher, like his edges
slide
are
and
just
pick up another one.
Yeah, and that's tough.
I just feel like though, some of that I think can be taught. I mean, certainly some movement skills cannot be taught, but it's like, with Cole Strange, it's just he doesn't look like he can handle these power rushers, and it just seems so obvious. And at what point is his technique going to catch up where it's like he's so flawless on his technique that he's able to defeat these bigger guys? And that's what I've been kind of waiting to happen, but it's just not. He's getting bull rushed every time they want to do it.
So it took Thuney 3 years to develop an anchor, right, and be able to drop anchor, because Thuney had a lot of issues early on with power as well, because he played tackle in college and then moved inside, and he was a slimmer tackle and more athletic guy, and he had issues same as Cole Strange, and it took till year 3 really for him to figure it out from that perspective. So maybe there's still time for Cole Strange, but that matchup against Quinnen Williams is brutal for him.
And I do wonder how healthy he is. I think in fairness.
And that's what I was just going to say, too, is that I think with all the offensive line, like Calvin Anderson, you want to kill him. Like, we don't even know what he was sick with. Like, he missed all of camp. So, look, the season has started. They need to play well. Excuses are done. But I do think week 3, you're still kind of acknowledging guys who didn't practice.
Tim writes in, our friend from Duncan, first things first, it was a good win. Any divisional win on the road is a good win. As I hear you talk about Zach Wilson, I keep thinking that he is at his worst against the Patriots. Do you think he will be that bad for the rest of the year?
Yes,
I don't think so.
That bad. He was that bad in the previous 2 games.
I don't think so. Now he is not a great quarterback, but I do think that he struggles more against the Patriots than against other teams.
Yeah, he doesn't.
They were able to beat the Bills with him at quarterback. I know Josh Allen turned the ball over several times, but they still won.
But not because of him. Because of a punt return.
By the way, my Patriots Unfiltered T-shirt came in. Thank you. I wear it proudly and happily explain the show to the few people who don't already know about it.
That's right.
Very few people.
Yeah, Zach Wilson is a disaster against everybody.
Few. Yeah, I mean, I would say, though, I think the Patriots, specifically a team that's willing to spin the dial post-snap and really amp up the confusion, I think that probably doesn't help them.
I'm not telling you they don't confuse him more than other teams do. Yeah. I'm telling you every other team has the same success rate against him. Like, they do not – even the games that he has won, they don't score in. Like Monday night against Buffalo. He didn't score any point. He had 1 touchdown drive, just like against you.
Yep.
And the touchdown in that night, my God, was an incredible catch by Garrett Wilson.
Yeah. Terrible throw.
Like, he can't play.
Yeah, I think that was definitely Josh Allen gifting.
By the way,
that game
that's my second check. Remember I told you they ruined another one?
Oh.
Those are the 2 things I predicted in the post-game show.
They ruined.
Denver giving up 70, and the Patriots ruined another quarterback in franchise.
Would be nice if, the Patriots had a player that can make that Garrett Wilson catch.
Wow. He spins it like in a different place.
Dark place. Evan on Tuesdays is
dark.
And it's funny because he said he was going to do better today.
I did say I was going to be more positive. Didn't work.
Be better. I usually get that.
I need like emo Evan to come in on Tuesdays, all like dressed in black.
I'm not down on the win. I'm not like
I think what triggered him is when I said that they they pass blocked pretty well.
Yeah, it did. That did kind of
Wrong.
Wrong.
What triggered?
I don't know if you know, but for dealing with low 8 pressures, that's a lot.
What triggered Evan today was that we spent the first 20 minutes not talking about football.
Yes.
That triggered
Yeah,
Evan.
we were trying to buffer it. I was trying to buffer it for him so he didn't get worked up too early. But
I was ready.
Hot,
I was ready to be
ready
positive.
to rip everybody.
I was ready to have a better Tuesday. That I just, looked in the mirror and said I didn't like how negative
You know what you
I
need?
was.
And if I was close to you, I'd give you one. A
hug?
vanilla nut tap.
Oh my God.
Wow.
All right.
Really mad about the pass
And on
protection.
That's going to be it for this edition of Patriots Unfiltered. We'll be back tomorrow at noon with more. And then the playbook with John Rook follows us tomorrow. Talk to you then.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.
The world's original podcast.